There
we
now.
go.
Yeah,
now
that was
I
it.
can hear it. Yeah.
And actually,
That's
David.
it.
Good evening, everyone, from Raymond, Mississippi. It's time for MACJC Junior College football action. The toughest league in America as the Pearl River Wildcats go on the road to take on the Hinds Eagles in a key South Division matchup in the MACJC. I'm Kelly Sanner along with color analyst Captain D. David Sutton, and although kind of back home things are raining and a bit messy, it is overcast and cool here tonight near the Jackson area, but no rain to speak of, although the field is a little bit on the soft side because of all the rain that it has taken this week. So, Captain D, as we welcome you, Mike's side here tonight in Raymond, a big game for Pearl River. It'll be interesting to see after 3 really strong quarters that the Wildcats played last week, how they'll come out and try to kick it into gear here early on.
Kelly, this could, in my humble opinion, this could go absolutely one way or the other. Do you use that 3 quarters of play last week and build on it and take that momentum into tonight's game and get that first victory of the season? Or do those 3 quarters of hard work and coming up just short again, and really when you put yourself at 0-2, Kelly, in the South Division, you are as close to being eliminated as you can be. I mean, 3 losses is impossible with just 2 teams making the playoffs. My point is that as well as Pearl, and they did, Kelly, God, they got behind 24-0 and did everything but win that game moving forward from that 6-minute mark of the second quarter on to the end of the ball game. They dominated. It was an absolute domination, but they came up short on the scoreboard, and you wonder, did all of that work kind of get erased because they lost, or do they get in the locker room and go, hey, that's the Pearl River football team we know we can be. Let's go out next week against Hinds, put 4 quarters together instead of 2.5, and win that football game.
One of the enigmas of this Pearl River team, Captain D, is when you look at the Itawamba game, for example, the Wildcats were flawless in the first half and got in their own way in the second half. And then you take into account last week, it was the other way around. Started out poorly and nearly pulled it out at the end, but just couldn't quite at the end. So what type of Pearl River team will you see tonight? And I think you talked about that just a moment ago.
Well, Kelly, there's been 4 football games. You have to wipe the Colin game out completely. That truly was a whitewash. But look at the other 3, Kelly. In the first half against Itawamba, as you said, they took a 20-point lead into the half and couldn't hold on to it. The East Mississippi game of all games, Kelly, up until the final play, the Hail Mary, which was the deflator. But, again, let's take that last 6 seconds out. That's a 14-8 game, and it is an absolute statistical dead heat with the number 1 team in the country. Again, a good half of football, and then the second half goes away. And then last week what we saw is, we'll just call it a bad first half. Really, it was a bad quarter and a half, basically, because, again, right around the midway point of the second quarter, I even, during one of the breaks, kind of tapped you and went, you can kind of see Pearl River getting their feet underneath them, and sure enough, they carried it through the rest of the game. But again, you got a half a good football, a half a good football, and a half a good football in 3 out of the 4 games. They need 4 quarters tonight.
Because when you look at the schedule still facing Pearl River, you've got nationally ranked Jones coming to Poplarville next week, and they still have to play Gulf Coast, still all part of the South Division. The Eagles have won the toss, and they will receive the football here to begin this game. And the Wildcats, first time the Wildcats have been in the all-white uniforms from head to toe, and the Eagles will be maroon from head to toe. Big South Division matchup.
They're white uniforms now, Kelly, but it's not raining at the moment. But for those that are watching on the stream, you can see just from pregame warm-ups, Kelly, this field has got some chunks out of it already. It'll be interesting to see how much of a factor this wet track plays tonight.
And actually, Hinds had one of its home games earlier this year moved to Mississippi College over in Clinton, Mississippi, where they have an artificial surface because this field had taken so much rain, and they just felt that it would be too scarred up in order for, and so they vowed to play the game at Mississippi College rather than here in Raymond. Interesting stat about Hinds. Hinds is one of the, well, it is the only junior college in Mississippi that actually has two separate mascots at two separate campuses. The Raymond campus here is the Eagles. The other campus in Utica, where they play basketball out of, when they play basketball, they actually become the Hinds Bulldogs. So the only junior college in the state of Mississippi that has that unique type of situation, two different mascots depending on what the sport is. So the Wildcats get ready to kick it away, and the Wildcat defense will be put to the task early on here in Raymond. Again, it is overcast, a thick blanket of overcast clouds above us, and it is cooler than we've seen as of late, but no rain in the area and no rain projected so far tonight for this 6:30 kickoff. Other games in the MACJC tonight include East Mississippi at East Central up in Decatur. Holmes is playing at Northwest up in Senatobia. Northeast travels to Itawamba tonight. Coahoma and Delta are playing each other in Clarksdale. Southwest is at Ellisville to take on Jones College. And Colin and Gulf Coast, a big clash of the Titans in the MACJC South. That game being played down at Perk. So getting ready to kick this one off tonight here. Glad to have you with us here on the stream. We'll get ready for our Wildcat roll call in just a moment. The kick is fielded at about the 9-yard line. Working to the near side of the field is Reginald Todd. Todd looking for a blocker and got plenty of blockers, but was wrestled to the ground by Will Lang, the kicker for the Wildcats. So the kicker earning his keep there besides just kicking it, but it's a great return for the Eagles, and they'll set up shop 1st and 10 at the Pearl River 46-yard line.
Yeah, here we go again. I mean, we saw last week, or at least early in the ball game, in that Pearl River losing that battle of field position. Already Hinds starting in Wildcat territory after a spectacular return with a great blocking wall set up for the return man.
Tylen Morton, the quarterback, the sophomore out of Griffin, Georgia High School. He is the quarterback for the Eagles. Pitch looking for some blockers to the outside of the field. That is Don Ragsdale, the freshman out of Pisgah High School, where he was a Dragon. He gets ahead for about a 14-yard gain over the right side. And a chain mover already on first down, stopped on the play by Josh Booker Brown. For the Wildcatters, Kelly Murphy. Guy can't be all bad with a name like Kelly, right? Here comes the blitz for Pearl River. It's picked up. Eagles throwing it toward the end zone. This pass is batted out of the air, nearly intercepted.
Pearl River, good defense, Kelly, because there was no flag thrown. Eli Stringfellow might have gotten there a half a count too early, but the thing that went in his favor, Kelly, is that he was going for the football, and he does have just as much right to it as the receiver, although we all know that the referee definitely tends to lean a little bit more toward the wide receiver in those instances, but Stringfellow, no call on the play. It forces a 3rd and long.
Eric Clark was the intended receiver. Clark, the sophomore out of Kemper, Mississippi. Fakes the handoff and then passes across the middle. It's taken in by Javante Shorter, the sophomore wide receiver out of Warren Central. But because his knee hit the ground even before he was touched, it's considered that he is down. So a 4th and 1. The Eagles will work quickly to try to get this first down.
Well, it looks short, Kelly. That looks like a stop. They tried to catch Pearl River with a quick snap and a hand to their number 1 running back, Ragsdale, and the Wildcats get the big defensive play early on.
Big stop for the Wildcat defense. So turns over on downs, and the Wildcats will get to work now offensively. Pearl River will head home next Thursday night for the annual cat fight against Jones College now. More on that game in just a little while. 1st and 10, leading the offensive charge for the Wildcats. Handing it off up the middle. Tavis Williams, the quarterback out of Harrison Central, on the handoff, but things got pretty congested up the middle.
Ron Thompson comes into this game, Kelly, just short of 500 yards on the season as he now took over the lead in the Mac Jack from last week's performance.
And Thompson has been kind of a different type of back in each half as well. One half he tends to do really well, and then other teams decide to take him out of the equation. 3 receivers to the near side of the field on 2nd down and 10. No gain on that play with 12:25 left to go here in the first quarter. This is the first possession of the night for the River Cats. High snap pulled out of the air, handoff to Thompson, and he is wrapped up and dropped back behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of about 3 on the play. Making the stop there for the Eagles is Rodriguez Harris, the freshman defensive back out of Holmes County High School in Lexington, Mississippi, just north of here.
What a play, Kelly. It looked like there was some room to run there for Ron Thompson, but coming up quickly and making, facing Ron Thompson one-on-one is not the easiest thing in the world. And not only was he up to the task, knocked him down for a loss, and now an unsportsmanlike conduct against the Pearl River bench area. So this is going to mark him back. Obviously, 3rd and 11 was going to be hard enough to convert, but a half the distance penalty early on here against Pearl River.
12 minutes even left to go here in the first quarter. The Wildcats in reverse here now on 3rd down and about 26 left to go here.
This is where you just don't want to make a mistake, Kelly. You want to go. You got a great stop by your defense. You moving backwards like you just said. Let's just do something smart. Get the punting team out there and play some defense.
Maybe a draw or a screen pass will be in the offing here. We'll see. Tavis Williams rolls to his right, wants to throw, and he is dropped. He is gobbled up back at about the 3-yard line. Several of the Eagles were there, but leading the onslaught for them was Isaiah Hunt, the sophomore defensive tackle out of Ackerman, Mississippi, and the punting unit will come in for PRC.
Wow, the drive starts at the 34-yard line. Pretty good field position. Ends at their own 4, 30 yards, 12 of it by penalty, 18 they lost on their own. And now the punter punting with his cleats touching the back end line.
So Will Lang is back there. He was the man that made the tackle on the kickoff, and this is blocked. This punt is blocked. It is out of the end zone, and this will be a safety for the Hinds Eagles.
Again, Kelly, what you didn't, he actually had the full drop, the full length back there, but they came right up the middle and went after it, and why not? If you're Hinds, if you don't get it, you're still going to get a fair catch and great field position, so they went after the punt, got it, got 2 points out of the deal. Pearl River, again, it's one of those things, they got a great, not a good defensive stop, Kelly, a great defensive stop. You have Hinds that starts in your territory at the 46-yard line. They're moving forward. Looks like they're going to, get into field goal range right out of the gate. You get a 4th and 1 stop, a chance to get your offense on the field, but 30 yards of lost yardage via penalty and losses of sacks and lost yardage on plays. And the next thing you know, you're down 2-zip on the road.
And remember, when you go in there defensively and get a hand on that football, the kicker becomes fair game at that point once you deflect the ball. So because it was a safety and not a touchdown, they will kick it off at the 20-yard line, and they get the option to either punt it or place kick it, and the Wildcats will place kick it from the 20. So the Eagles will look for a return here with 10:59 left to go in the first quarter. Pearl River trailing 2-0. Lang's kick comes to the near side of the field.
Oh, and it goes out of bounds. Kelly, this is going to be walked way back up the field.
It got out at about the 37-yard line. Lang was purposely trying to work to the near side of the field, but the kick just escaped him, and it did wiggle out of bounds. So the Eagles,
this will be spotted at the 45-yard line, if I'm not mistaken.
The Eagles are being talked to as to what their options are here offensively, because quite frankly, it's not a very common situation.
You can walk them back 5 yards, Kelly, and make them kick it again from back at the 15-yard line, and they are going to want it re-kicked. So this is a situation where you're already going to be in a position to come up with a nice return because of all the yardage you're going to, all the grass you got in front of you, basically, and go ahead and move Pearl River back 5 more yards and see how far you can get the ball up the field.
Thanks to some of our sponsors, including Red Burrito, bringing south of the border menu items north of the border. Red Burrito located inside of Hardee's in Poplarville. Hardee's, the sponsors of the halftime show. Don't forget the new Fruit Loop donuts that are available for a limited time at Hardee's across the country, including the one in Poplarville. Anderson's Design Center, they'll be keeping us up to date on other scores from around the toughest league in America. Poplarville Eye Center joins us for the first year. Glad to have them along. Our friends at Ramey's Marketplace, and also Pine Belt Chevrolet and Pine Belt Chrysler Jeep. Glad to have you with us here on prccmedia.com as a rather interesting look as the kick is away from the 15-yard line but fielded at the 25. The wedge sets up to the near side of the field. Trying to return this ball is Javante Shorter. Shorter tight-roping down the sideline. Cuts it now back inside. I think he stepped out at about the 26-yard line, and that's where they're going to go 1st and 10. The Eagle fans thought that he might have taken it to the house, but he did just tiptoe out of bounds at the 26-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will start 1st and 10, leading this game 2-0.
Well, he took the opening kickoff from his own 10, Kelly, and got into Pearl River territory to the 46. This one he takes around his own 20, 25-yard line and nearly goes the distance, but it ends up being officially a 49-yard return. So a 41-yard return and a 49-yard return, and once again, Hinds is in Pearl River territory to start a drive.
Tylen Morton, the 6'4", 210-pound quarterback from Griffin, Georgia. Remember, you get eight guys that you can sign from out of state as the Eagles call timeout here and want to make sure that everybody is on the same page.
Hey, what a good job. What a good decision by the Hinds coaching staff, accepting the penalty. Instead of starting at the 45-yard line, now they're in Pearl River territory at the 26. So that's one of those, Kelly, that in the book, it goes down as a 5-yard penalty against Pearl River. In reality, it cost them 29 yards because of the difference in field position.
But that's also where good film work comes in, because obviously the Eagle coaching staff saw something about Pearl River special teams that they felt like they could capitalize on, and so far they have.
Good call, Kelly, because both of those returns, they looked almost identical. They got it to Shorter first, and they set the wedge up, and he came to the near side, and both times it worked to perfection.
So the Eagles have it 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line of the River Cats, working right to left. Pitch, looking for the sweep and some running room. Ragsdale was forward maybe for a yard or so. Good penetration by the Pearl River defense to hem him up just long enough to get some other help from the linebackers coming in to make the stop. No gain on the play, 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, the defense is doing everything it can, Kelly. I mean, they've had their backs pinned against the wall 2 consecutive possessions. The only thing you wish is that the tackle was made initially. Could have been a loss of about 4 or 5. That was actually a nice job by Ragsdale just to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Ted Egger, the head coach for Pearl River, also serves as the defensive coordinator. Passes in the air, going to the corner. This pass is incomplete, threw into double coverage, almost picked off in the corner of the end zone, or just toward the corner of the end zone. Eli Stringfellow was in the area, but the Eagles have not been able to pass on the Wildcats so far tonight. The intended receiver was Reginald Todd, the sophomore wide receiver out of Mobile, Alabama.
Morton has stared down his receiver twice, and he's lucky that he's gotten 2 incompletions out of the deal.
As the Wildcat defenders have been right there with hands in the air and nearly picked it off twice. So 3rd down and 10. Eagles have not been able to move the ball on Pearl River. A pass across the middle is complete at about the 13-yard line. Making the pass reception there, Reginald Todd, but he was down immediately as he had to go to the knee to make the catch. So they'll move the chains. 1st and 10 for the Hinds Eagles at the Pearl River 14-yard line.
Bad break for the Wildcats right there. That was actually good defense. That was an excellent catch by Todd.
Faking the handoff, now running himself is Morton, the quarterback who lowers his head, gets across the 15 down to about the 12. So gain of about 4 or 5 on the play. Wholesale changes here for the Wildcat defensive line, making some changes with 9:24 and counting left to go here in the first quarter. Eagles lead at 2-0, but looking for more. Early on. Hand off to the near side of the field, diving inside the 10 down to about the 8-yard line. That's Jadarius Payne, the other running back that they'll use, the sophomore out of McGee High School, where he was a McGee Trojan right down Highway 49.
Kelly, when you have a drive that starts at the 26-yard line, if Pearl River can get out of this with a field goal attempt, that's a win. They got a chance right here.
Eagles working quickly. It was a free play. But one of the Wildcats got a little bit frisky early on and jumped across the line.
It's only going to be half the distance, Kelly, but they need 3, and the walk-off will be 4. If it is against Pearl River, which it is, that's going to be a freebie on a 1st down.
So the Eagles move it a little bit closer down toward the goal line. They'll spot it at about the 4, and that should be a first down.
It is. It's first and goal.
From the near side of the field, the Eagles working right to left. Direct snap back to Don Ragsdale.
Barely kept him out of the end zone. It's going to be second and goal, but less than a half a yard to go for Hinds to get in the end zone. So Pearl River has bent as far as it can bend without breaking.
Looked like Damian Gray was in there on the tackle for the River Cats. So a second down and goal from the 1-yard line. Well, the Eagles working like they've got somewhere to go later on tonight. Again, a direct snap to Ragsdale, and he was hit behind the line of scrimmage. Nice job by Corey Jackson, the sophomore linebacker out of Madison Ridgeland Academy for Pearl River, to make the stop. It'll be third down and goal.
Boy, I tell you, they went heavy to the right side, Kelly, but you still have to at least acknowledge there's defenders on the left as he crashed in and crashed against the running back Ragsdale, who's in the Wildcat formation.
I think this might be 4-down territory either way for the Eagles. Ragsdale coming to the left side, lowers his head and dives to the end zone. He's in for a Hinds Eagle touchdown.
The 6th touchdown run of the year, and again, it's a 26-yard drive when you have teams that start at your 26-yard line. I don't have the Elias Sports Bureau stats in front of me, Kelly, but you're going to score a whole bunch. You just hope that you can hold them to a field goal, but the Wildcats on that big critical third down play where they had a chance to get off the field, that offsides penalty led to the Hinds touchdown.
So here's Carson Flum, the freshman kicker from Capaya Academy. He's out of Crystal Springs. The extra point kick is a knuckleball low. That is not even close. It is no good. With 7:40 left to go here in the first quarter, the Hinds Eagles lead Pearl River 8-0. Back with the kickoff in a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Carson Flum, the place kicker for Hinds. That was his first miss of the year. He was 11 for 11 on PATs prior to that one. But he just kind of...
If you're going to miss bad. I guess that had no chance.
Yeah, he sculled that one. It was kind of a worm burner. If you've ever played golf, that's kind of the way that one was. Klum approaches the football, kick up to, taking it about the 15-yard line, trying to come to the right side, but running into the coverage at about the 27-yard line is the up man for the Wildcats. That's Juan Nelson, the freshman wide receiver out of Laurel. So that's what the River Cats will get to work. 1st and 10, trailing in this game, 8-0. Time for our Pearl River roll call. Make sure you text us at 601-310-7077, 601-310-7077. Let us know where you're watching the game from. We want to give you a shout out as we stream live tonight from Raymond, Mississippi, just south of Jackson, about 9 miles or so, in the western southwest direction out of Jackson. On 1st and 10, Tavis Williams fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, tries to string out the Eagles defense, does find some running room to the far side of the field and picks up about 5 on the play. Nice job by the Pearl River quarterback. Making the tackle there was Joshua Gray, the freshman linebacker out of Columbus, Mississippi.
If you're Pearl River, Kelly, you've had 2 drives for Hinds start in your own territory, given up 2 huge kick returns, had a punt blocked that ended up in points. It's a one-possession game. I mean, it's an 8-0 game. You just got to kind of settle down and try to put some points on the board on this drive. And a nice start here with a couple of good runs.
Zone read there, but the handoff goes to Thompson, and he gets forward for about another 3. So it'll be a 3rd down and short situation here for Pearl River. Clock moving with 6:45 left to go here in the first quarter. Twin stack to the right side. Now man in motion comes to the near side for Pearl River. That man in motion is Tyler Polk. Leading receiver for this team is KJ Breland for Pearl River. Plenty of time on the play clock. Tavis Williams hands it off up the middle. That's enough for a Pearl River first down, a chain mover up to about the 39-yard line. Keeping it on the ground, and Ron Thompson again with the carry, who's been the man doing most of the heavy lifting this year for the Wildcats in that backfield.
It's a good run by Thompson. Didn't try to hit a home run. He just saw a little crack, got through it, moved the chains. Nicely done.
1st and 10. Thompson tried the middle, nothing there. Cuts to the right side, now back to the middle, and is able to get ahead for about a 5-yard gain there. Nice job by Ron Thompson again. From the 585 area code, give us a win, Wildcats. The Monticellis are cheering you on. I think the Monticellis are in New York, if I'm not mistaken. 2nd down and about 5 upcoming. Pearl River trying to get on the scoreboard here with a nice drive here so far. Faking the handoff to Thompson. Williams will take it himself across the line of scrimmage and plunges forward for a gain of about 2. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 3. Second possession of the night here for Pearl River.
Hinds is playing so tight to the line on defense, Kelly. There will be big pass plays available if this defense remains on the field for Hinds. In fact, there's two receivers down here to the near side with only one defender covering them.
Playing forward down lineman, Coach Charlie McDougall, the defensive coordinator for Hinds, calling all the shots for the Eagles here on 3rd down. And call a 3 for Pearl River. Tavis Williams out of the shotgun wants the ball. The read again, but it goes to Thompson, and he is stacked up and dropped for a loss on the play of a couple. Down he goes. The Eagles were right there waiting on him. And again, making the play is big Isaiah Hunt, the 6'2", 300-pound defensive tackle.
Offense may stay on the field, Kelly, to try to draw Hinds off sides. I would be very surprised from their own side of the 50 if they go for this.
Well, they're appearing that they will go for it, but I think strategically you may have the call right, Captain D. Still 12 seconds left on the play clock. And Pearl River would actually have to call a timeout, and now does. So they'll either rethink this or kick it away with 4:17 left to go in the quarter. Pearl River calls a timeout. We'll take a quick break as well. The Wildcats trail 8-0. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com.
Southern Miss to the top. Go Eagles!
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price at Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
Southern Miss to the top.
Kelly Sander with Captain D. David Sutton back in Raymond tonight with 4:17 left to go in the first quarter. Pearl River comes out to apparently run a play on 4th down and 3. We'll see if that is indeed what happens. Eagles are showing blitz. They've handed off up the middle. It'll be close depending on where they got on forward progress. Jesse Purnell out of Poplarville got the handoff, and with that spot, which is a pretty good spot.
They give him the first down without even measuring, Kelly. That's unbelievable. I think he was short.
Well, the chains do move, and the Wildcats won't let them take any time to even think about it.
You talk about a break, Kelly. At the very least, that should have been measured. I mean, it was close enough to be measured, much less to just move it for a first down. A great break for Pearl River, whether they got it or not.
And alertly, Tavis Williams called a play quickly so that the next play would get in the books. It netted no yardage, but the first down stood. 2nd down and 10 now for the River Cats. Clock melting, 3:28 left to go in the first quarter. Again, the Eagles in a 4 defensive front alignment. Ron Thompson got a good block on the swing pass out inside the 45-yard line where he was pushed out of bounds. Nice little swing pass there to Thompson, who used the shifty feet to come up with a big gain on the play of about 7. It'll be 3rd down and 7 now for the River Cats.
And Kelly, I cannot explain how big that conversion was. You were about to give the ball back to Hinds again in your territory. Finally, Pearl River's crossed the 50 on the move with less than 3 to go first quarter.
3rd and 3. Play action. Pass is complete inside the 40 down to about the 37-yard line. Tyler Polk grabs that one, and that's good for a Pearl River first down at the Hinds 37-yard line.
When you've run it this much, Kelly, at some point you can throw against the defense as they try to stop the run. 2 consecutive completions for Tavis Williams.
The Eggers are joining us on the live stream from the 607 area code. Glad to have you along with us. There's some miscommunication in the backfield between Williams and Purnell. So Williams had no choice but to eat that one, and he was taken to the ground quickly by Harris, the freshman linebacker out of Lexington, Mississippi. A big loss on the play there of about 6. Second down and 16 as we near 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter.
Yeah, we've seen that too much out of Pearl River. They get something going, they get some positive momentum, and then they kind of a self-inflicted wound is all that is right there. Just like you said, a miscommunication now behind the chains on 2nd and 15.
Donovan Hickman now in the ball game, kind of wing left, strong left. They fakes the handoff. Now Tavis Williams rolls to his right, wants to run, but has a receiver inside the 30 down to about the 27-yard line. Pulling that one in is Tyler Polk. There were 2 men in the area, including K.J. Preland, but it was Polk that brought the pass in. And
that's going to be very close to a first down. And again, they're not going to measure it, it looks like. These are some generous officiating. No, now they're going to move the sticks back. And, Kelly, how are you going to get that right? I mean, you've moved the sticks a little bit. Nope, they're going to go ahead and give it to them. So first down for Pearl River again on a ball where the nose of the football was on the line to gain.
1st and 10. Tavis Williams again out of the shotgun. High snap, pulls it down out of the air and hands it right straight ahead to T.J. Wash. Wash goes right into the teeth of the defensive front for Hinds, but is able to pick up about 2 on the play. Call it 2nd down and 8 for the Wildcats, who are also working quickly here, trying to get the Eagles in a defensive situation where they were making wholesale changes. Play action, throw out into the left flat. That's caught. Nice spin move by Tyler Polk to get away from a couple of defenders and gets up near first down yardage at about the 18-yard line.
And Kelly, I think that he was initially stopped short, but another great spot. I mean, this has been the theme of the drive here. That nearly netted them the first down, but it's going to be about a half a yard short.
43 seconds left to go in the quarter. On 3rd down, 3rd and 1. The handoff to Thompson. Big room for Ron Thompson, who bulldozes his way inside the 5-yard line, nearly into the end zone, but stopped just short. It'll be 1st and goal for the River Cats at the Eagle 1-yard line.
Well, that's a productive 3rd down in one play, just trying to get the first down, and the next thing you know, you get 17 of the 18 you need. The Wildcats knocking on the door, and Hinds has got to call timeout. They had nearly 15 men on the field as Pearl River was about to snap the football.
Well, that would have been unfair. That would have been unfair indeed. And with that last first down carry, Ron Thompson and the Wildcats are in the Red Burrito red zone, again bringing south of the border menu items. North of the border, Red Burrito located inside the Hardee's building in Poplarville. And don't forget your student and faculty IDs for a discount every single day. Red Burrito, proud to be a sponsor of Pearl River Wildcat football. Part of the strategy here, obviously, for Pearl River, too, is to run this speed-up offense, knowing that the Eagles like to bring in different defensive packages, and have been catching them in transition.
What a drive this has been, Kelly. The score, let me get that exact for you here. The score came at 7 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the first quarter. There's only 22 seconds left to go as this drive has lasted nearly half the first quarter. Now they've got to cash it in. What a start for Tavis Williams, though, Kelly. He came into the game, Kelly, on the season with only 11 completions at 11 for 31. He is 5 for 5 out of the gate tonight on this drive alone, all 5 completions.
1st and goal for the Wildcats from the far hash mark, working left to right with 22 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Pearl River trailing 8-0. Tavis Williams again, strong side left for the Wildcats. Donovan Hickman is over there.
The stoppage of play, the clock operator accidentally ran the clock 1 second, so they're restarting that, and they do have it back to 22.
And the Wildcats were asking what was up with that. Man in motion to the near side. They fake it to him and hand it to Thompson. Thompson evades one tackler and gets into the end zone. That is a Wildcat touchdown. Ron Thompson.
That's a sidestep if you ever saw one, Kelly, because the defense had actually penetrated deep into the backfield. Ron Thompson, a little slide step to the left, and then he gets it into the end zone for the score. The Wildcats, will they go for 2? But right now, trailing it 8-6. What an answer to the Hinds touchdown drive.
And it appears like the Wildcats will go for 2 to try to tie this football game with 18 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. A rejuvenated Pearl River offense and a very efficient offense in that drive. Tavis Williams with Thompson to the left. Same play, just the other direction. Little swing pass, out, caught, and evading a tackler and just short of the end zone. Is that Janarius Johnson? Maybe a pass out there into the flat. And it was complete, but did not get in for the 2-point conversion. So 8-6 the score remains, and the Wildcats will go to kick it away. While we get a chance, let's go to the Anderson Design Center scoreboard. Itawamba has grabbed an early lead over Northeast. It is 14-0. Itawamba 14, Northeast nothing. That game is up at Itawamba. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 near Oak Grove Optimist Park.
Kelly, that drive was spectacular, had so many good qualities to it, but it's so quick how we forget. How about the decision to go for it on 4th and 3 in your own territory, especially after they didn't get Hinds to jump off sides. They call the timeout. 99 times out of 100, you see the punt unit come on. Coach Ted Egger rolls the dice, has confidence in it. They convert the first down, and they actually cash it in with the touchdown.
Part of what he might have been thinking is at this point in the season, what do the Wildcats have to lose? This time they go to the far side on the kick. It's fielded at the 8-yard line, but again, coming to the near side of the field and looking for some blockers is Shorter. Javante Shorter with the return, but much better blocking for Pearl River and making the tackle, stopping.
Last return, the Hinds must have seen something. They definitely have seen something because, as you called correctly, they came all the way across the field that time to try to get to that wall. And to be quite frank, it was still a pretty decent return, 32-yard line to start this drive.
But had to run about 30 yards just to get over here. Pitch sweep left side. On the carry is Payne, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. Payne picks about 5 up on the play. So we've got 1 in the books here in Raymond tonight. At the end of 1, it's the Eagles 8 and the Wildcats 6. Back with more in a moment from Raymond. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com.
Get treated like family at the Poplarville Eye Clinic. Poplarville Eye Clinic can take care of your basic exam needs, and their professional staff treats dry eyes, allergy issues, pink eye, and glaucoma problems. Poplarville Eye Clinic offers pediatric exams and can fit regular and specialty contacts. Need glasses? Pick from brands like Ray-Ban, Coach, Nike, and Guess. Book your own appointment on their Facebook page or stop by 1249 South Main Street in Poplarville. Call 601-795-0137.
Eight to 6, Eagles lead the Pearl River Wildcats as we head to the second quarter of play. Eagles have a 2nd down and 5 as Hinds will work it left to right this time with a fresh 15 up on the clock here in the second quarter. Throwing, lofting it up toward the sideline, man-to-man coverage, but the pass is caught right over his shoulder. Reginald Todd with the snag at about the 25-yard line. Great pass defense there by Savara Snow for Pearl River, but even a better catch by Todd, the 6'4", 190-pound wide receiver out of Mobile.
40-yard completion, and Kelly, it was just one-on-one, and the quarterback just said, I'm going to throw it up and let my receiver make a play, and he did just that.
Tylen Morton on the pitch sweep, left side. It goes to Payne. Payne is wrapped up and dropped by the pursuing Pearl River defense. Kyron Norwood, the sophomore defensive back, on the tackle there. He's out of Forest County AHS. Only a gain of a yard on the play. Brings up a 2nd down and 9 for the Hinds Eagles, leading here 8 to 6 over Pearl River.
Of course, the total yards have flipped a little bit since that 40-yard completion, but in an evenly matched first quarter of 8 to 6 on the scoreboard, Evenly matched yardage-wise. Pearl River, 64 total yards of offense to Hinds, 50.
Morton wants to throw. Has a man wide open in the end zone. Reginald Todd got away from his man as the defender for Pearl River, Snow, slipped on the wet turf. So Todd was all alone, and they convert for an Eagle touchdown.
Well, that was what we talked about in the pregame show. If you caught it right before kickoff, we told you about these field conditions, and Snow flat out slipped on the wet turf, and it left the receiver literally wide open. It was just a pitch and catch for the touchdown.
So here's Carson Flum, who missed his last extra point attempt, but up to that point was perfect 11 for 11. The hold is down. This kick is up, and this kick is good with 13:57 left to go here in the second quarter. The Eagles extend the lead now 15-6 over Pearl River. When you take a look at the standings in the MACJC South, it is East Central, actually, that leads the way. You know, East Central had lost 7 games in a row and now has put together a 3-game win streak. East Central leads the South Division with a 2-0 record along with Jones. Jones is 2-0. Jones playing Southwest tonight. So East Central and Jones leading the way with 2-0 division records. They both are 3-1 overall. Then Colin behind them at 1-0. Colin will have its hands full tonight down at the Mississippi Gulf Coast in Perk tonight. Colin with a 2-2 overall record. Hinds right behind Colin at 1-1, 2-2. Gulf Coast 0-1 in division play, but 3-1 overall. And then Southwest and Pearl River are both 0-2 in division play. Flum to kick this one away for the Eagles, puts the right foot into it, and a beautiful end-over-end kick is fielded at about the 5-yard line. Looking to get some room on the far side is KJ Breland. Breland gets up to about the 30, where he was tripped up and taken down. So that's where the Wildcats will get to work. A good, efficient drive last series. Jonathan Jordan on the tackle out of St. Joe's Catholic for the Eagles on that play. So Pearl River back to work offensively, trailing in this one 15-6.
Pearl River was able to answer the last Hinds touchdown with a 7-minute and 22-second drive, but then Hinds answered that long drive. All that took the Eagles right there, Kelly, 1 minute and 13 off the clock.
Ron Thompson right behind the quarterback, Tavis Williams, who claps his hands, wants to throw it, and does, toward that far sideline. Tyler Polk made the grab and was able to weave his way forward. Looked like a gain of about 4 on the play. Taking him out of bounds was Ivan White Jr., the sophomore out of Brandon High School.
Polk's been busy in the early going. That's his 4th reception of the evening. Came in with 13 on the season.
Breland, the leading receiver, yardage-wise for Pearl River coming into the game. 2nd down and 7 now after the modest gain of 3. High snap, but he's able to pull it down out of the air, hands it off, but nowhere to go for Amos Robinson. Or check that, for Ron Thompson. He was taken down by Amos Robinson. So maybe a loss on the play of about a yard. Brings up 3rd down and 8 for the River Cats with 12:59 left to go here before halftime. Pearl River trailing Hinds 15-6.
Tavis Williams is 6 of 6 throwing the football right here. Probably going to put it on his right shoulder to keep this drive alive.
2 receivers to the near side. They go strong right, fakes the handoff, now rolls right. Tavis wants to throw, evades one tackler, then throws it across the middle. It's caught for a 1st down for Pearl River. Nice catch, and very patiently, KJ Breland was waiting for him to be detected in that soft seam in that zone for Hinds. Breland was there, and he brought it home for a 1st down for the River Cats.
Boy, give Tavis Williams a lot of credit right there, Kelly. Rolling to his right. He had to stave off a defender, and how many times do you see a quarterback do that and then just tuck it and run? His eyes never stopped looking down the field, and he gets the completion for the 1st down. And we get a roughing the passer penalty, it looks like, on a late flag against Hinds, which is going to make a 9-yard pickup all the way down to the 44-yard line of Hinds. Pearl River on the move.
Hey, the Wildcats can use a break or two, considering they've certainly had a couple of bad ones go against them the first weeks of the season. 12:20 and clock moving left to go here before halftime. Fresh set of downs for the River Cats at the 44-yard line.
Pearl River, that's the benefit, I should say, that's the first penalty of the night called against Hinds. They played a very clean first quarter.
Ron Thompson in the backfield. Purnell has had a couple of rushes for Pearl River tonight, getting a lot of use out of Donovan Hickman, the tight end. This time, Hickman to the left. They fake it to Thompson and dump it. They wanted to dump it to the tight end, Hickman, out of the backfield, who would have had some room, but could not find the handle. It's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 now for Pearl River, who will go back home next Thursday night. The annual cat fight scheduled to be played in Poplarville next Thursday night. Justin Mary checks in now, the tight end for Pearl River. Mary, the sophomore tight end out of Oak Grove High School.
It was the first incompletion of the night for Tavis Williams, and certainly not his fault as he put it right on the hands of the receiver.
3 receivers to the near side of the field. Justin Mary, we mentioned, out of Oak Grove. Oak Grove has a big game with Petal High School this coming Friday. Tavis Williams looking for the right side, can't find anybody. Now rolls, tries to pick up a few yards with his feet there, and does, to about the 41-yard line, not near what he needed to get, but they say now that he stepped out at about the 43, so it looks like a 3rd down and 9 upcoming for Pearl River.
A little bit of a high snap right there, Kelly. That was supposed to be a fake and a throw, and because he couldn't fake it, the linebackers and the defenders didn't freeze to have to respect the run. That play was covered from the start.
Again, trips to the near side of the field. Davis hands it off to Ron Thompson. Fumble on the play. He fell right back down on top of it at the 46-yard line. The good news is Pearl River recovers it. The bad news is it's a loss on the play of about 3, and will bring up a 4th down and 11, and the punting unit will be dispatched here for the River. 10:58 left to go in the 2nd quarter. Pearl River trailing Hinds 15-6.
And Pearl River really needs a good punt right here, and then they need the defense to get a stop. I mean, quite frankly, that quick drive last time to make it a 2-score game, they really can't get it out to a 3-score game this early in the ball game.
Will Lang to kick it away, kind of runs to the right side and kind of a rugby kick. Will Lang did go down, was knocked down by one of the defenders there for Hinds. It looks like getting in there was Derek Turner out of Raymond High School, but no flag on the play, no roughing the kicker. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, it looks like they'll spot it at about the 15-yard line where the Eagles will get to work.
Worst starting field position by a mile for Hinds, who had started twice in Pearl River territory. And before that, their worst starting field position was the 32, which was their last possession that they turned quickly into a touchdown.
1st and 10 for the Eagles, working right to left with 3 receivers to the near side of the field. Hands it off, trying the left side of that defensive front for Pearl River is Don Ragsdale, but he was stacked up, nowhere to go. And leading the charge there for Pearl River was Jaden Ridgway, the freshman defensive tackle out of Pascagoula. No gain, maybe even a loss on the play. 2nd down and 11. But again, the Eagles want to work quickly. We will be going to the Anderson Design scoreboard here in just a moment. It's 15-6 here. Eagles lead the Wildcats in the 2nd quarter. 13 seconds left on the play clock. Still plenty of time for the Eagles. Wanting to throw it is Morton. Morton pump fakes, then throws it across the middle. Finds his receiver, Eric Clark, but he was drilled immediately in coverage there by Corey Jackson, the linebacker for Pearl River. It's a gain of about 6 on the play. Brings up a 3rd down and 5.
That was a great job, though, by the Hinds line. The bottom line is that play took a long time to develop, but the offensive line of the Hinds Eagles gave the quarterback all the time he needed to let it develop. Morton was able to deliver and make this much more manageable 3rd down situation.
3rd down 5, split to the right. As Morton wants to throw, does. The second base slide at about the 28-yard line. Catch is made, and making the reception is Jovante Shorter, the wide receiver out of Warren Central. That will move the chains. So taking a page out of the Pearl River offensive playbook, Eagles working deliberately, more deliberately than the last series, and working the short game rather than the long game. 1st and 10. Handoff, big hole up the middle, coming to the near side. That's Ragsdale, who is brought down from behind inside the 40-yard line. He was taken to the ground by Ron Baker, who made potentially a touchdown-saving tackle, running him out of bounds at about the 34. They'll spot it at the 35 officially. First down and 10 for the Hinds Eagles.
Boy, the Wildcat defense had really done a nice job up until that point of bottling up Ragsdale. He's explosive. He had 8 carries for 20 yards, but that one went for 36.
First and 10 as they look to the near side of the field, flashing the signals in. The offensive coordinator, Kelly Murphy, for the Hinds Eagles. And Larry Williams, the head coach here at Hinds, wanting to throw. Morton rolls to his left, can't find anybody. Now Morton will run it himself and is taken out after a gain of about 7, it would appear, just inside the 30-yard line at about the 28.
Well, the blitz came from his right side, and he just ran away from the blitz. And with the way that the route was run, Kelly, all the receivers and defenders had been run out of that area. Good decision by the quarterback, Morton, to run the football. He picks up 8.
It is second down and 2 now from the far hash mark in front of the Pearl River bench. The Wildcats in their all white, the Eagles in all maroon here. On a pitch sweep, right side. Nice spin move, but Ragsdale taken down short of the first down. Tackled on the play by Josh Smith, the freshman defensive tackle out of Landry Walker High School in New Orleans.
Long way to go in this ball game, Kelly, but you wonder, number one, is this 4-down territory? Because it's going to be a heck of a long field goal attempt if they don't get it. But the Wildcats really need to come up with a stop right here.
Third down and about 2. Ragsdale split to the right. He tries the left side, bumps his way inside the 25, and dives down to the 24, which is enough for a first down. Pearl River did a good job of defending it, but he bounced off a couple of tacklers. Corey Jackson again on the tackle for PRC, but it's enough for a Hinds Eagle first down with 6:55 left to go in the second quarter. The Eagles leading the Wildcats 15-6.
That's frustrating for the coaching staff because they had the right call right there, and they hit the the running back behind the line. You had him, but he bounced off of it, as you said, got through the tackle, and it ends up getting 4 yards when he only needed 3.
Those of you watching the stream saw that's just a sideline warning for Hinds. They have to stay behind the painted areas there so that they're not in danger of taking a hit, should the play come their way. Faking the handoff, but getting away from the pursuit is the quarterback, Tylen Morton, and he just threw it out of bounds to avoid any more pressure. So that was a throwaway down. It'll be second down and 10.
Good job by the Pearl River defense blowing that play up. But you know what? You got to give Tylen Morton a lot of credit right there. He didn't go down for the sack and then made a nice play of just throwing it away. Don't throw it into coverage. Don't make it try to do anything heroic right there. And he gets the incompletion. It's second and 10.
And it looks like the Eagles were a bit premature on the right end. This will be a false start against the home team. Back him up 5 yards. It'll be second down and 15 now. Updating the Anderson Design scoreboard. Other scores from around the state in the MACJAC. Gulf Coast has kicked a field goal and leads Colin 3-0 in the first quarter. Southwest has tied it up with Jones. They're 7-7 in Ellisville. Coahoma leads Delta 6-0. Swing pass out to the right side. Again, it's Ragsdale, but he is shadowed there and pushed out of bounds by Josh Booker Brown on the stop for Pearl River. Itawamba leading Northeast 14-3. Holmes has drawn first blood on Northwest. It is 7-0. And East Mississippi leading East Central 14-6. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson's Design Center off of Highway 98 in Oak Grove. Third down and about 14. After a loss, really, on that swing play. Nothing to the left, wants to throw to the right. Down the field, the receiver slipped and fell at about the 4-yard line, Jovante Shorter. So where the Eagles were the recipients of some luck down there on the end of the field, with the Pearl River defender, Snow, slipping the last time.
Actually about in the same exact area, and Kelly simply put, if Shorter stays on his feet, he's got not only a first down inside the 10, he may turn that up and score. That was a big break for Pearl River to get the slip and fall right there, and now it looks like they're going to go for it here on fourth down.
And 14. Oh, that's a little quick kick, a little pooch down inside the 10-yard line. It's not going to roll much because it's so soft down in there. But nice strategy there by the Eagles. Downing it at about the
punt.
7 is Javon Antonio.
How about the quarterback right there? I mean, you're on the 29-yard line. If you put it too far, it's a 9-yard pickup after the touchback. As you said, in that same area where we've seen a couple of players slip, that ball just hit and kind of splatted almost in the mud and stops at the 4. A lot of times those pooch punts just don't work, and that one is about as good as they could have asked for Hinds.
That's kind of like one of those drives. You blister one in golf, and you think it's way down there, and it's plugged. It's 2 inches.
It's about
exactly
three
where it
inches,
hit.
three inches under the ground is where it is.
1st and 10 for Pearl River, trailing 15-6 with 5:59 left to go here in the second quarter. 5:59 left before the Hardee's halftime show coming your way. On the give and go, handoff up the middle. That is Purnell, the bruising running back out of Poplarville High School, advances up to the 10-yard line.
Kelly, this is an important drive in this ball game. Hinds gets a big stop right here. They get good field position, a chance to get more points before the half. Pearl River needs to really get out of jail right here and try to at least milk some of this clock down. But, of course, if they can put some points on the board, they get it in the second half.
Tavis Williams wanted to try to find a receiver open, didn't, so wasted no time in running it himself forward up to about the 14-yard line. Looks like the Cats are about a yard short with 5:22 left to go. Here in the first half, rather. Wing right, twin receivers to the far side. The give and go, that is Purnell, trying to follow one of his blockers out to the right, but I think he slipped and fell before he could even get back to the line of scrimmage. Corbin Lewis was out ahead of him.
Boy, that's a big slip right there, Kelly, because if you get the first down, that clock continues to melt, and you hold on to the football. Now Pearl River with a big decision. Do they even attempt any sort of a gamble here on 4th and about a half a yard from your own 14-yard line?
Ted Egger is down there right at about the 4th down marker, and I think he's asking, is it close enough to measure? Will they measure it, or will Pearl River call a timeout here and decide to punt this away?
I think they are going to measure. I see the line judges went over and grabbed the magic chain marker, so here they come. So a good job by Coach Egger. If anything, he gets to now give more time to make a decision. He saves a timeout instead of burning one. And last but not least, he'll know exactly how far short he is, but this is going to be short.
Well, we thought almost that these officials tonight had a political leaning against using the chains.
Yeah.
But about a half a yard short indeed. But as David so aptly described, now the Wildcats not charged with a timeout and apparently have decided now to prudently kick the football away.
Kelly, it's only a 9-point game. I mean, this is the second quarter. It's too big of a risk. And even if you get the first down, you're still in your own 15, 16-yard line. It's not like you're threatening to score. So punt it away. Let your defense try to hold it where it's at.
Really wet and sloppy at that end of the field. You hope that the footing will be okay for Will Lang, who stands about 2 yards deep in his own end zone. Lang to kick this one away from a low snap. And
boy, I tell you what, Kelly, Hinds got away with one right there. They tried to go in and block that punt because they have blocked one tonight, but they made contact with the punter. And if anything, you could call running into the kicker. And when you only need a yard, those 5 would have let the Wildcats retain possession. But Hinds, the beneficiary of the no call right there, and they start their 3rd possession of the ball game inside Pearl River territory at the 46.
Well, the problem Will Lang had is he wasn't a quarterback, because if he was playing in the NFL and was breathed on, he would have gotten a flag there.
Isn't that the truth?
Handoff over left tackle for the Eagles as they try the right side of that Pearl River line, making the tackle Corey Jackson on the stop after the gain of about 4 on the play by Ragsdale. He's certainly earning his paycheck tonight. 2nd down and 4 with 4 minutes even left to go here in the second quarter. The Eagles leading Pearl River 15-6 here in Raymond tonight. The Wildcats going with just a 3-man front here. Wanting to throw with plenty of time. Down the right side into the corner of the end zone, and that is caught by Reginald Todd for an Eagle touchdown.
And Kelly, the coverage was there. The hand went up. The ball just seemingly went through the defender right there, right into the hands of the receiver. It was a great throw, don't get me wrong. But the defender was there. The coverage was there. All that didn't happen was the ball just didn't get knocked away. That's a big time score there for the Hinds Eagles. Probably one they might not should have deserved, but they'll take it anyway.
Snow was there on coverage for Pearl River along with Norwood, and it was covered well. The extra point attempt is up, and it is good by Flum. With 3:38 left to go in the second quarter, it's Hinds 22, Pearl River 6. Back with more in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on prccmedia.com.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment, and 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Well, that certainly changes the complexion of things. A touchdown there with 3:38 left to go. Flum will kick it away now for the Eagles, and that's how much time Pearl River will have to work with to try to put some points up on the board. Fielded about a yard deep, right back up the field to about the 17 or 18-yard line. Keontae Payton, the sophomore wide receiver out of St. Martin. So that's where the Wildcats will start from the far side of the field with 3:32 left to go. Coming up on the Hardee's halftime show, a visit with Vice President of Pearl River Community College, Martha Smith, will be joining us to talk about all the activity on campus at Poplarville. Enrollment is up again. All things on the up and up, and two big thumbs up for things going on at campus in Poplarville. She'll be joining us on the Hardee's halftime show. 1st and 10. Wants to pass it, does. It's complete to Hickman. Hickman, the tight end, rambles across the 25 to about the 28-yard line before he was brought down on the play by Amos Robinson, the freshman linebacker out of Hollandale Simmons.
Why is that term ramble a code word for tight end? They do have that rambling aspect to them when you get that big body, getting all that momentum going in one direction. But a nice 9-yard pickup on first down.
Handoff. Thompson has some room over the right side. Got some good blockers. They sealed off that side, pushed the defenders to the left, and Thompson just took off to the right. That'll move the chains. Pearl River will have to work quickly on a 1st and 10 now at the 34-yard line, a first down after the play. And the Eagles either are going to get called for too many men on the field or they're going to burn a timeout, and that's what they've done. They burn a timeout here.
Good job by the coaching staff, though. That's one of those underrated things that you just don't think about, but they saved themselves a penalty right there, and they get to kind of talk things over as the Wildcats had gotten off to a pretty good start on this drive with the completion and nice run also by Ron Thompson.
But with that, they are now out of timeouts. And you wouldn't think there'd be any reason why Hinds would need any timeouts with a 22-6 lead here in the waning moments of the second quarter. But more importantly, the River Cats have 2 timeouts in which to work as they try to work down the field to get some more pointage before the end of the second quarter.
Kelly, it's a 16-point game. Obviously, you'd like to be the team with 22 in this situation and not the 6. But looking at it with the glass half full, if Pearl River can come up with a touchdown drive right here, remember, they get the ball right back to start the third quarter. So this is a chance for Pearl River to put a dent in this lead, and it's still, with the 2-point conversion, a 2-possession ball game.
Hayden Bryson at wide receiver, a little dump pass, and a man cutting across the middle. That's Dwayne Lee. Dwayne Lee up across the 40 before he was planted by Amos Robinson. A gain of about 6 on the play. Dwayne Lee out of Oak Grove High School with the reception and the gain there brings up a second down. Clock moving with 2:27 left to go here in the second quarter.
Now, these have not been high-risk passes, Kelly, but Tavis Williams is 9 of 10, and the only incompletion was a flat drop to start the ball game here.
Now splitting further out is Donovan Hickman. They wanted to throw it to Hickman, but the hands got in the face, so Tavis Williams will try to create something on his own, and he does up to the 45-yard line, which will move the chains. That is a first down for Pearl River as we get to 2 minutes now left to go in the half. Again, the Wildcats have 2 timeouts in their back pocket. Hayden Bryce, the freshman out of St. Joe's, out of Jackson, with the shiny white uniform here to the near side of the field. On a first down. 4 down linemen for the Eagles. They give it to Thompson, who dives to the 50. He was just a shoestring away from maybe getting some really big yardage down the near sideline, but the football dissects the 50-yard line. For the record, a second down and about 6 upcoming for Pearl River. They spotted actually just shy of the 49.
Wildcats going to have to pick up the pace now. It's good that they're taking their time to make sure they get their plays right, but getting down to about the minute mark, they got to get on the move.
Play action. Tavis Williams can't find anybody, and down he goes. He is swarmed under by a host of Eagle tacklers who got the talons out and took him to the ground. Leading the charge there was Janaz Jordan, the defensive tackle out of Bethel High School in Hampton, Virginia.
So 3rd down and 6 coming up. Got to get the ball around to the 45-yard line of Hinds. Still 1:03 to go. The reason that Pearl River, though, it took this time out right here, Kelly, is they know obviously you don't get this first down, you're probably going to punt it away. But on the flip side, it'll just depend. Wouldn't surprise me again, as you said earlier. We've seen them go for it on 4th and 3 in the first quarter. That was on the touchdown drive, by the way, and convert it from around midfield. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not like a sack on the play that this might not be 4-down territory as well. Partially because of the score, partially because of what you said earlier. What have you got to lose? I mean, you're looking for that first win in any way you can get it. And lastly, as you noted, there's no timeouts for Hinds, and that does play into it because it's obviously tougher to get into field goal range, tougher to score when you don't have any timeouts to work with.
So the Wildcat uniforms, which came out so sparkling white at the beginning of the game, a lot of them are starting to show some wear and tear, grass stains, mud stains. I mean, old school football here. On 3rd down and about 6, a quick clap. Tavis Williams rolls to his right, has a receiver there, nearly overthrew him, but finds his man there. K.J. Breland at the 40-yard line is where his knee went down, so they'll move the chains, and Pearl River has just 1 timeout left with 56 seconds left to go here in the half.
That K.J. Breland just snuck in off the sideline. Nobody even knew he was there. He was wide open, and as you said, that would have been a tough miss right there. Good job by Breland climbing the ladder to bring that pass in.
1st and 10. Breland is still over there to the far side. Bryce and Tyler Polk to the near side. Justin Mary, wing left here. Play action. Wants to throw it. Tavis Williams in the pocket. Slings it toward the middle of the end zone. It's caught! It's caught for a Wildcat touchdown. Tyler Polk.
What a first half for Tyler Polk. Kelly, what an adjustment right there. As he was heading toward the right hash mark, he saw where the pass was kind of going over his left shoulder. He dug his foot in the ground around the 5-yard line, kicked it into gear, caught up with the pass in the end zone, made the diving catch. That's a huge score for Pearl River. Probably going to go for 2 right here to try to cut it to 8.
Tyler Polk, the sophomore wide receiver out of Ocean Springs.
A 40-yard touchdown reception, Kelly. Polk, 5 catches in the first half for 71 yards in that score.
A couple of Gulf Coast boys there on the hookup. Tavis Williams out of Harrison Central and Tyler Polk out of Ocean Springs, and the Wildcats will call timeout here.
That's a good timeout, Kelly. I mean, you got 1 in your pocket. Where are you going to go with it with 47 seconds? Get the play you want called. Don't rush to the line after the touchdown. This 2-point conversion is big. We just talked about it a moment ago, Kelly. If you can get in the end zone, you get the 2-point conversion, you got a 1-possession game, and you get the football to start the 3rd quarter if you can last out this last 47 seconds.
Both bands scheduled to perform at halftime, and coming up here on the Hardee's halftime show, scheduled to be with us is the Vice President of the Pearl River Community College, Martha Smith, will be joining us here to talk about a lot of the things that have changed in the off academic year, if you will, between May and August when things were rolling again. But boy, if you had to give a State of the Union address when it came to Pearl River, attendance is up, enthusiasm is up, everything 2 thumbs up for Pearl River. And we'll find out the details of that coming up on the Hardee's halftime show. So setting up to go for 2 to get Pearl River within 8 here with 47 seconds left to go. Man in motion to the near side is Bryce. Tavis Williams wants to throw. Is anybody open? No, he's not, and had to throw it into the turf. So the Wildcats will kick it away with 47 seconds, and with the Eagles not having any timeouts, I would just fully expect them to maybe run one play.
Well, you got to hope that they don't get a return as they have gotten so far tonight. I mean, it's one of those situations, Kelly, where two of their returns have gotten them into Pearl River territory to start drives. So wouldn't be surprised if Pearl River goes with a little pooch kick or the old squibber down the middle to try to keep it out of the hands of Javante Shorter, because Shorter, even on the bad return, he got it to the 32-yard line. So there's been a whole lot of return yards out there to be had for the Eagles. So we'll see how Pearl River chooses to play it here with 47 seconds left to go in the half.
And you have to think, too, if you get within 50 yards of the end zone, that Tylen Morton might tee one up and
well, it would bring back
throw it to the
bad
end zone.
memories of the East Mississippi game. Again, if you're an offense in this situation, that's all you're trying to do. Get it to midfield and maybe throw it in the end zone, and something good might happen.
Will Lang to boot it away for Pearl River, trailing 22-12 now with 47 ticks left here in the second quarter. It is the low line approach. Picked up at about the 12-yard line and coming to the near side of the field. Travion Young across the 50 to about the 46-yard line. Finally taken down by Peyton Graham, the freshman linebacker out of Poplarville. Graham on special teams for Pearl River on the tackle. But dangerously close to that, as we mentioned, student body to the end zone, and see what happens here with 37 seconds left. Remember, the Eagles have no timeouts.
Well, Kelly, all they need, remember, the clock stops with a first down, and you can get up to the line. A completion or two and they're in field goal range. I think they're already in Hail Mary range here, starting another drive in Wildcat territory. Fourth of 4 drives of the 6 that Hinds has had has been across the 50.
Kyron Norwood has dropped way back into coverage, but they're going to try to nibble this, try to swallow this elephant one bite at a time, as the little pass play there gets down to the 33-yard line. Making the reception is Javon Antonio, the freshman out of East St. John High School in Laplace, Louisiana.
That's too big of a chunk, Kelly. 14 yards. That took all of 6 seconds off the clock.
32 seconds left. Again, wanting to throw to the sideline. They do, slipping and sliding at the 27-yard line. Not enough for the first down is Antonio again.
That's good, though, that it stayed inbound. So the clock is moving inside of 20 seconds left to go. They're going to have to clock it.
And that's exactly what they do as he goes under center, does Morton. Now remember, if he was in the shotgun formation there and did that, it would be a loss of about 5 or 6 yards on the play. So alertly, he went under center to stop the clock. So 3rd down and 4, but that's really kind of moot at this point with 15 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. The Eagles leading the Wildcats 22-12.
If you're Pearl River, you want to do something kind of tackle before the first down, and that'll end the half.
Here's the play. 3rd down, time to throw. Now flush from the pocket, rolls to his right, throws toward the end zone. Is there. Touchdown. Reginald Todd again.
Big kick returns, Kelly, are absolutely killing Pearl River. And the fourth drive starting in Pearl River territory in this half results in another score, and that is a killer. You did an amazing job on offense to score before the half and to cut this thing down back to a 10-point game, and Hinds basically just erases it right off the board.
On to trying to kick the extra point is Carson Flum, the freshman out of Capaya Academy. He hits the left upright, and it bounces back no good. So being perfect coming into tonight's game, he has missed 2. And that keeps the score 28-12 with 6 seconds left to go in the half. We'll keep it here and then we'll take a 2-minute break just prior to the Hardee's halftime show. Pearl River returns home next Thursday night for a battle with rival Jones College. The annual cat fight will be staged on the Pearl River campus next Thursday night. But still, then the Wildcats will travel as they begin their Saturday schedule of games which the last 3 of the regular season are Saturdays, October 13th, 20th, and 27th. They'll be at Southwest on the 13th, hosting Gulf Coast. That's homecoming on campus on the 20th, and then finishing up the regular season at Mississippi Delta. Flum's kick goes to about the 5-yard line. And with some running room toward the near side, spinning and getting away from some tacklers is Keontae Payton. He is finally brought down at the 45-yard line, but Keontae Payton had the Hinds faithful gasping there as he nearly took it back to the house. So we're at halftime here at Hinds, and after 2 quarters of play, it's the Eagles 28, the Wildcats 12. The band's getting ready to perform here at halftime, and we're just moments away from the Hardee's halftime show here in Raymond tonight. Again, after 2 quarters, it's the Hinds Eagles 28, the Pearl River Wildcats 12. Back with more in a moment. You're watching Wildcat football on prccmedia.com.
My time at Pearl River really helped me mature as an adult and start thinking about more than just me and about what my contribution to humanity and to society needed to be. And that's part of what drove me to choose nursing as a career.
Loved it here. Some of the best friends I have today I met here while living on campus at Pearl River. Went to work right when I graduated from Pearl River Nursing Program at Forest General, and I have been there for 35 years, and I feel like my education prepared me for my career in the healthcare profession.
Choose a college. Go online. Apply for college. Go to class. Keep fit. Go skydiving. Scratch that. Meet new friends. Grab a power lunch. Take a break. Study, study, study. Sleep. Wake up. Take a test. Graduate. Get a job.
Two best years of my life as far as college goes. Met a lot of great friends that are still friends today. Got to play baseball with a bunch of great guys. Just had a great time.
Just made the best friends of my life. I got the best of instruction, and when I finished in 1986, I went on to pharmacy school at Ole Miss, and I felt that I was really well prepared by the faculty of Pearl River. I just enjoyed so much the time I spent there as a student.
Back in Raymond tonight, the Spirit of the River getting ready to perform at halftime. Don't worry, you're not in trouble. That siren just is the way they always start their halftime show, as you see the Spirit of the River there. And the Hinds band will also perform here at halftime, where the Wildcats trail the Hinds Eagles 28-12. Hinds 28, Pearl River 12. Our halftime show brought to you by our friends at Hardee's in Poplarville. Hardee's, home now of the world famous, slowly becoming world famous, Fruit Loop Donuts. if you're familiar with the breakfast cereal Fruit Loops, then you're going to like these Fruit Loop donuts. The same color, the same taste that you have out of your breakfast cereal, and available for a limited time now. And don't forget, using your student ID and a faculty ID, you get that discount every single day at Hardee's in Poplarville. Voted America's best tasting hamburger, Hardee's proud to support Pearl River Wildcat Athletics. Joining us on set now is Vice President of the Poplarville campus, Dr. Martha Smith, who would rather be nowhere other than right here in the press box talking to me, right, Martha?
Absolutely.
You know, so let's talk a little bit about. We'll go start academically now. All things really pointing to a good academic year. Numbers are up, and not a lot of schools can say that.
That's right. I'm the one who tracks numbers on a daily basis. I guess I'm a spreadsheet geek, and those numbers come into me. It's been really fun to watch those numbers because I get to watch not only our head count numbers, but our credit hour. And our students are taking more hours, which then translates into graduation, because students cannot graduate in a timely manner if they're only taking 12 or fewer hours each semester. They have to take 15 hours toward a degree plan in order to graduate in a timely manner.
Now, as you research as to why things are going so well, particularly with enrollment numbers and so on, is there anything that you guys can put your finger on as to what specifically is attracting students to Pearl River when, again, a lot of other schools, community colleges in the state, do not have numbers that are on the increase, but rather on the decrease?
Well, you're asking an opinion question.
Of course.
And I have plenty of those. My opinion about this is that it's a personal thing. We have people who have a personal interest in Pearl River, from the teachers to the administrators to office employees, who are all interested in the ultimate success of a student, which is the ultimate success of the college. And when all of those people are working in the same direction, I don't think you have to identify a particular strategy. You identify the combination of personalities, determination, and goals, all moving in the same direction.
One of the things that all administrators across the state are running into and fighting, and it's not a literal fight, but a figurative fight with the legislature over dollars, because, you know, you don't have to be living in a cave to know that the legislature is saying, look, we're struggling being able to fund everything we need to fund. So if you could talk to every legislator right now and give them an elevator speech, you know, 30 seconds or so, as to why they need to come through with what they say they'll come through with, particularly funding the junior colleges in the state, your argument would be what?
Community colleges fill a very specific need in the state. But that specific need is actually not one need. It's the need of whichever student comes in that day. And our gift is to be able to help any student where that particular student is. So if it's a student who comes to us with low abilities and needs to work hard to achieve, then we have what they need. If it's a student who comes to us because they are capable of being in our Honors Institute, we have that too. But if it's a student who comes to us ready to gain a skill and go straight into the workforce, then we have that. We address so many needs that it's hard to argue not to give us the dollars. We're there for our community. We are the ones who are expected to fill whatever need is there in any particular community. That's what each community college is expected to do. That's why we don't all have the same career technical programs. We all have different ones because we're supposed to address the needs of our community. What industry is moving in? For Pearl River, in your career technical, welding is a huge need. Well, we have such a beautiful relationship with those industries that we can place those people when they get certified. So it's excellent. It gives even students in those career technical programs options of, do you want to be here for 1 year, a year and a half? 2 years? What kind of degree is it you're looking to earn? So we're there to fill that need, whether you're a transfer student or whether you want to go into that career technical program.
Dr. Martha Smith is with us. She's the vice president of the Poplarville campus as the Spirit of the River continues to perform here on the Hardee's halftime show. The Wildcats trailing the Eagles 28-12 at half. I contend, too, you gave your opinion as to why enrollment was up. I think, and again, here's my opinion, I think with like students being able to stay on their parents' insurance until they're 26. Mm-hmm. I don't want this to sound the way it's going to sound, but I think to a degree we have a softer mentality in kids that they're just not breaking away from their parents at earlier ages like they were before, and to go right from a small town setting to be thrown into a 40,000 student enrollment at any major university. That is a huge transition, and a transition that sometimes will kill a kid academically.
Sure. Over the last few years, we've developed a very robust summer orientation program that we call ROAR, Ready, Orient, Advise, Register. And during that time, I have the opportunity to speak to parents. We jokingly say that parents fall into several categories. Are you the helicopter parent that hovers over your child? Are you the Velcro parent who wants to take every step with your child because your child's stuck to you? Are you the bulldozer parent who wants to clear the path for your child? Or are you the Hummer parent who's going to go straight to the top when there's a problem? And being at a community college can oftentimes help those parents feel just as much at ease as it does the student.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how much training you have to do with the students as compared. You also have to train the parents as well.
You do. For the last few years, during our orientation session, we've given parents the opportunity to write a letter to their child. During the 3rd to 4th week of school, that's about the time that students really start to go, ooh, this school thing's not for me.
Reality sets in,
huh? Yeah, this thing called being an adult begins to become real. And so at that point, you start to see a lot of students back away and say, I got to get out of here. And having the parent offer that encouragement at that moment is a really cool thing. So we get to surprise the students. Our Student Success Center takes all those letters and organizes them by classes. And we have lots of folks who go out during the morning class periods and find those students and deliver those letters. And it can be a real emotional time for those students. I've seen them cry, get on the phone to their parents, because many of them seriously needed that support. But then we also have those students who didn't have a parent to write a letter. And we kind of thought, those students might need a letter more than the ones who had a parent to write it. So we had, the Student Success Center spearheaded this, and I was just lucky to be a part of it. They got together a group of teachers, administrators, office personnel, and we all sat down and wrote a letter to every single incoming student who didn't already have one from a parent. That we hand wrote it, personalized it, signed it ourselves, saying, thank you, we are so glad that you're here. And we're here if you need us. We're giving you the encouragement you need. And it was as good for them as it was for us.
That's a great idea. Of course, with me, I would have appreciated some cookies as well. A homemade chocolate chip would have been.
We'll put that on the list.
But man, things are going so well when the different facilities that are popping up, and as growth comes, then there's probably going to be some more building in the future. And who knows, what might happen. But continued success.
Thank you.
And best of luck as moving forward. So far, so very, very good this academic year, and it's good. And that wasn't painful at all, was it, Dr. Smith?
No, it wasn't. I appreciate that, but don't tell anybody. They'll make me do it again.
No, I joke with people all the time. I said, women just want security.
Oh,
right?
Is that it?
Well, yeah, because every time I start talking to one, that's what they start screaming. Security.
Imagine that.
Stay with us just a moment. The Hardy's halftime show will continue. The Spirit of the River has completed its performance. The Hinds band will now take the field, and Pearl River trailing at half, 28-12. When we come back after this 2-minute break, Captain D. David Sutton will be back with us in his latest installment of the Captain's Log. That and more as the Hardy's halftime show continues in just a moment. You're watching Wildcat Football on PRCCmedia.com.
My time at Pearl River really helped me mature as an adult and start thinking about more than just me and about what my contribution to humanity and to society needed to be. And that's part of what drove me to choose nursing as a career.
Loved it here. Some of the best friends I have today I met here while living on campus at Pearl River. Went to work right when I graduated from Pearl River Nursing Program at Forest General, and I have been there for 35 years, and I feel like my education prepared me for my career in the healthcare profession.
Choose a college. Go online. Apply for college. Go to class. Keep fit. Go skydiving. Scratch that. Meet new friends. Grab a power lunch. Take a break. Study, study, study. Sleep. Wake up. Take a test. Graduate. Get a job.
Two best years of my life as far as college goes. Met a lot of great friends that are still friends today. Got to play baseball with a bunch of great guys. Just had a great time.
Just made the best friends of my life. I got the best of instruction, and when I finished in 1986, I went on to pharmacy school at Ole Miss, and I felt that I was really well prepared by the faculty of Pearl River. I just enjoyed so much the time I spent there as a student.
The Hardy's halftime show continues here in Raymond tonight, and as the Hinds band begins to perform, kind of a foggy / misty type of thing has kind of settled in over the field and has dropped the temperatures. Our man Avery's kind of chilly out there, underdressed for these cooler temperatures that have moved in, but goodness, an answer to prayer, these colder temperatures. But maybe another answer to prayer would be for a Pearl River comeback in the second half. The Wildcats trailing here 28-12 as the Hardy's halftime show continues from Raymond. 28-12. One of the big reasons that the Eagles are where they are is because Reginald Todd has decided to have him a game at wide receiver. But as to exactly how we got to this 28-12 score, it's time for Captain D. David Sutton to rejoin us with his latest installment of the Captain's Log.
Reginald Todd came into this football game on the season with 6 catches for 42 yards. In the first 2 quarters of this ball game, he has nearly doubled the reception amount. He has 5, and he's nearly quadrupled his yardage amount. 5 catches for 139 yards, and all 3 touchdowns that he caught in the first half were the 3 touchdowns that he has on the season. So indeed, what a night. A night by far his best game of the season for Reginald Todd. Hinds got off to a good start, and that was via the special teams, actually. The Wildcats got a 4th down stop on the very first possession after a big kick return started Hinds in Pearl River territory, which was a theme of the first half, as 4 of the 6 drives that Hinds had in the first half began in Pearl River territory. But Pearl River's defense was able to at least shake that one off and give the football to their offense actually on the 34-yard line, which, ironically enough, was the best starting field position of the night for Pearl River on their very first possession. But unfortunately, a penalty mixed in with a sack and a loss of yardage on a running play moved Pearl River back 30 yards in that first possession. So in his own end zone was Will Lang punting the football, and the punt was blocked out of the back of the end zone. And at the 10:59 mark, Hinds was up to an early 2-0 lead on the ensuing kickoff. After a penalty for kicking the ball out of bounds, Hinds decided instead of taking the football at the 45-yard line, they made Pearl River re-kick. And that was a great decision, as not only did they not start at their own 45, they started at the Pearl River 26-yard line, as Javante Shorters had an unbelievable night returning the football. He factored into another big return later in the first half, but this one started the Hinds Eagles at the 26-yard line. They were able to cash that one in on a touchdown, a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Ragsdale. The PAT actually was no good, and Hinds led by a score of 8-0. Pearl River, though, had the answer, and it was a beautiful one indeed. A 7-minute and 22-second drive put together by the Wildcats ended up going 69 yards in total, which included a big decision by Coach Ted Egger to go for it on 4th and 3 from his own 46-yard line that early in the ballgame. Paid off as the Wildcats converted there, ended up getting a 1-yard plunge of their own from Ron Thompson. The 2-point conversion to try to tie the football game was no good, and that's how the first quarter came to an end at the 18-second mark there with the scoring. It was 8-6 Hinds after 1. In the second quarter, though, it did not take long. That also a theme. When Pearl River scored, Hinds had the answer, and they had it quickly. This time, just a 1-minute and 21-second drive is all it took Hinds to go 68 yards. Actually, that was their worst starting field position of the first half. And it ends with an 18-yard touchdown pass from Tylen Morton to who else but Reginald Shorter. That was the first of 3 in the first half. Actually, the first of 3 in the second quarter. The PAT was good. Hinds led it 15-6 at the 13:57 mark of the second quarter. Then the defenses kind of took over, but the scoring got hot and heavy late in the first half. At the 3:38 mark, Reginald Todd, a 42-yard touchdown reception from Tylen Moore. The PAT was good. 22-6 was the score at that point. But Pearl River, in a kind of one of those must score, even though it's a second quarter situations, they got that must score as they took the kickoff after the touchdown back at their own 19-yard line. Drove the ball 81 yards and ended up with a 40-yard touchdown pass from Tavis Williams to Polk. The 2-point conversion, trying to get it back to a 1-score game, was no good. It looked like that was how we were going to go into the half at 22-12. Pearl River trying to do something about the long kick returns from Javante Shorter. Kind of hit a line drive down the middle of the field. The ball was scooped up around the 8-yard line, and Javante Shorter did it again, returning the football all the way into Pearl River territory at the 46-yard line. And 5 plays later, a 27-yard touchdown pass from Morton to Todd stretched the lead back out once again to a 16-point lead. The PAT, though, was no good, so if there was any silver lining to the very late score that came at the 6-second mark left to go in the first half, is that with the PAT being no good, it still keeps it as a 2-score game, but Hinds leads it 28-12. What a second quarter it was for Hinds' offense. 65 yards on the ground, 153 through the air, 218 yards of offense for the Hinds Eagles in that second quarter, 270 overall in the first half. While Pearl River didn't have a bad quarter themselves in the second quarter, they had 99 yards of offense, 22 on the ground, 77 through the air, but overall, Hinds, 270 yards of offense to Pearl River's 163. Tavis Williams has had a great first half for the Wildcats. 11 of 12 throwing the football, and if you haven't listened to us throughout, The one incompletion was a flat drop. That pass was dead on the money. He nearly was perfect in the first half, 11 of 12 for 115, and that one touchdown throw to Tyler Polk, who's had his best game of the season. 5 receptions for 71 yards for Tyler Polk with that touchdown leading the way on the ground. Who else? Ron Thompson, although Hinds has bottled him up somewhat. 13 carries for 33 yards. He does have a touchdown plunge for Hinds leading the way. Tylen Morton, the quarterback, is 11 of 16 for 185 and 3 scores. What a great first half for the quarterback for the Eagles. Don Ragsdale, who was their leading rusher, coming in. Actually, he got a 35-yard run on one play, and that's about all he's had, but 12 carries for 64 yards overall. He does have that 1-yard touchdown plunge back in the first quarter, and it's Reginald Todd, who's the man of the hour. Again, 5 catches, 139 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kelly, again, he came into the ball game with 6 catches for 42 on the season. He has had not only his best game of the season, I would imagine his best game of his career as a Hinds Eagle in this first half.
And part of the reason he's been so successful, and we've called a game or two in our careers, Captain D, and one of the things to me that has been so impressive is what a beautiful football Tylen Morton really throws. Not one of them has been anything other than a very tight spiral. He's thrown it laser-like. He's thrown it hard when he's needed to. He's lofted it gently when he's needed to. A very deft touch by Tylen Morton, which has made things even more problematic for the Pearl River defense as this, again, this mist kind of a fog has settled in over the stadium. And this is the coolest temperature it's been for a long time in South Mississippi. As it's down to 67 degrees here in Raymond, which is what we've been asking for a long time. But when you got some people walking around in flip-flops, 67 can be a little bit chilly. 28-12 here at halftime. Our halftime show is always brought to you by our friends at Hardee's, located in Poplarville. Hardee's voted America's best-tasting hamburger, and they cook their buns fresh daily, each and every day. If you've ever been in the restaurant early in the morning, you can actually get the aroma of those fresh-baked buns. And again, voted America's best-tasting hamburger. Hardee's always proud to support Pearl River Wildcat athletics. 28-12 is our halftime score as the Hinds band begins to finish up its halftime performance. The Wildcats have been warming up to our left end of the field, and actually to the right down here just beyond the end zone, the Eagles have been loosening up. While we get a chance, let's update the Anderson's Design Center scoreboard. Scores from around the MAC-Jack, the toughest league in America. And could an upset be brewing in Decatur tonight, where East Central leads East Mississippi 15-14. Now, it's just a halftime score, so don't get too excited. But East Central leading East Mississippi 15-14 at half. Other scores from around the MAC-Jack. Northwest leading at home against Holmes 14-7. That game in Senatobia, and the Rangers leading the Bulldogs 14-7 at halftime. It's Itawamba 17, Northeast 10. That game is at Itawamba. That's a halftime score. Itawamba has led throughout that contest as they go to break. In the second quarter in Clarksdale, it's Coahoma 12, Mississippi Delta 3. Of course, later on this year, the last game of the regular season, Pearl River plays Mississippi Delta up in Clarksdale. And other big games in the South Division, Jones leading Southwest. It is Jones 28, Southwest 14. That is a second quarter score. And in Perk tonight, it is Colin 14, Gulf Coast 3. Colin 14, Gulf Coast 3. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center, just off of Highway 98 in the Oak Grove area. Alan Anderson, the proprietor and owner of Anderson Design Center, proud to say he is a Wildcat. Along with producer Mark Franklin and color analyst Captain D. David Sutton, I'm Kelly Sander. Glad to have you back for the second half of play here, as the Eagles won the toss earlier tonight but elected to take the football. I'm beginning to see that tendency switch back to teams winning the toss and taking the football now, rather than, it was in vogue for a long time to
almost a decade.
Yeah, to
defer.
Yeah, take it in the second half. But the Eagles won the toss and took it. So Pearl River gets it here to begin the second half of play, and that goes out of the end zone. So the Wildcats will begin 1st and 10 here in the second half, working from right to left, trailing in this game 28-12.
Well, after that late touchdown by Hinds, it's obviously there's people out there that can listen to the statements like this and go, that's just, come on, there's 30 minutes of football left, and you know what, you're right. But this is a big drive, in my opinion, by Pearl River, to try to answer and at least erase that bad taste in your mouth that you had, because you had the touchdown. Pearl River had the momentum going into the half, and then that big kick return with 40-something seconds left, and the next thing you know, all that work that Pearl River did to scratch back to a 10-point ball game was knocked off the board. So big possession for both teams here. Hinds trying to keep the momentum on their side.
Tavis Williams rolls to his right, has a man on the sideline, and stepping out of bounds after making the reception is K.J. Breland. Gain of about 7 on the play as the Wildcats get to work here in the second half, trailing 28-12.
Boy, what a game for Tavis Williams again. He came in with 11 completions on the season, Kelly. That's his 12th of the night.
2nd down and 7. The handoff right straight up the middle, and enough room there, but getting hit in the back. Ron Thompson got a helmet right to the middle of the back, and you could see him react almost immediately, as looking like he got the wind knocked out of him.
Well, he's having trouble getting up, and you can see why.
Yeah, and he is headed to the sideline there. Ron Thompson is all muscle, but in the back, man, he took a spear, took a helmet right in the middle of the back. It is a first down for Pearl River. The football rests at the 37, 1st and 10. Tavis Williams at the controls here out of Harrison Central High School, where he was coached by Casey Kane. His offensive coordinator was Patrick Garvin on 1st and 10. Williams calls for the football, runs it himself, right straight up the middle. Tavis Williams showing his athleticism, getting across the 45 up to about the 47. If he didn't get the first down, he's just short, as we're just underway here in the second half with 13:44 left to go in the third quarter. They will move the chains without even measuring it.
You hear me laugh a little bit, Kelly. Again, that was way too close to just move the chains, but every time they've done it, Pearl River's been the beneficiary, so keep it up.
Give and go to Jesse Purnell. Purnell rambling across the 40, inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line. And when Jesse Purnell gets a full head of steam, he is a load to take down.
Well, he's had a tough season, though, Kelly. That's, if not the best, for sure, one of his best runs of the year, a 20-yard rip right there into Hinds territory.
Well, Purnell is the man now with Thompson out. We don't know for how long. A quick pass to the near side, caught by Keontae Payton, but he had to go down to a knee just to secure that football. But it is a gain. He was stopped on the play by Rodney Hawkins, the freshman defensive back out of Brandon High School.
I know it's a small thing, Kelly, but look, they gave him every bit of that forward progress. That was at least 2 yards to the benefit for Pearl River on the spot, because he came back to that ball and dove backwards. That's a big deal, from a 2-yard gain to a 4-yard gain.
So there's the pickup. Now goes to throw the football, and it's on the ground. Alertly, one of the Wildcat offensive linemen, Ivory Scott, the sophomore out of Bonneville, Louisiana, fell on top of it. And I'll tell you what, if you've ever been close to Ivory Scott, stood next to him, if he falls on something, I want no part of it. Just let him have it. So he does secure the football and keeps the possession for Pearl River, but they lost all the yardage. That was the pickup on the previous play has been lost. 3rd down and 11 now with 12:05 left to go in the third quarter. Pearl River trailing Hinds 28-12. This MAC-JC South Division matchup. 3rd down and long. Rolling to his right. Williams wants to throw. This ball slips out of his hands and goes out of bounds. So the wet football with that, we said that mist and kind of funky fog that has rolled in here, causing some problems for the grip for Tavis Williams. 4th down and 11, and it looks like the Wildcats will have nothing to do with a punt here, Captain D.
Well, I mean, you can pin them deep, but at the 34-yard line, you risk the ball going into the end zone and only getting a net of 14. You're down 16 points. It's kind of no man's land. Too far for a field goal. You might as well go for it. We saw Hinds go for it, remember, on a 4th and 14 earlier tonight, ended up with a touchdown.
And they might try to get it 5 yards at a time here, but on 4th down, Williams wants to throw, throws toward that end zone. It's knocked down threw into a crowd of 2 Eagles and 2 Wildcats, hoping that something good would happen there. Incomplete, so the ball goes over on downs.
Hinds defense bent but did not break right there. That's a big stop for the Eagles, Kelly, because not only do you keep, obviously, Pearl River from climbing any closer, 16 points. I mean, that is 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. That's as far of a stretch of your 2-score game as you can get. If Hinds puts any points on the board at all with the score being like this, they get a lot of elbow room. There's a big difference between a 2-score game and a 3-score game.
1st and 10. Handoff to the big man Ragsdale over the left side. The Wildcats were waiting for him. Not a whole lot there as he ran right into Janarius Johnson, which is never a good idea. Maybe a gain of a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Also in there on the stop for the River Cats is Josh Booker Brown, the sophomore linebacker out of Houston, Texas, Westfield High School.
Both teams have done a pretty good job stopping the run tonight.
3 receivers rather to the near side of the field for Tylen Morton. Morton throws across the middle. This pass is caught across the 45 to about the 47-yard line. That'll move the chains. The receiver, Jovante Shorter, the return man for Hinds, which has done such a good job tonight making the reception on that pass play.
Shorter does have 3 receptions, and I tell you, Tylen Morton, 12 completions, I should say, in 17 attempts, 197 yards. And a lot of these completions he's getting, Kelly, are contested completions. I mean, the defender was there, just got it to his receiver. Good catch.
1st and 10 on the give and go, but no room at the end. As, again, clogging things up the middle. Again, Janarius Johnson on the stop for Pearl River. Joseph Daniels, the sophomore linebacker out of New Orleans, was also there. No gain on the play. Brings up a 2nd down and 10. The Eagles trying to extend a 28-12 lead over Pearl River. Wildcats showing the blitz here on 2nd down and 10 with 3 receivers to the near side. Offensive coordinator Kelly Murphy signaling the call in for Hinds on the near sideline. Wanting to throw across the middle, tipped, and then into the hands and in and out of the hands. Boy, Pearl River got a break there. It was tipped by Eric Clark nearly into the hands of Jovante Shorter. But that football is acting really like a greased pig now rather than a pig skin, because both quarterbacks and receivers having trouble hanging on to the football now in these very damp conditions in Raymond.
In the near side, down toward the end zone, Kelly, we've seen slippage both on the receiver and the defensive back. But this heavy kind of driving mist is really starting to wreak havoc with the football.
3rd down and 10. Morton rolls to his right, looks for a receiver, now dumps it to the Ragsdale out of the backfield, but being Reggie Williams was on the tackle there for Pearl River, but this might be a roughing the passer on Pearl River.
Boy, that's a tough break for Pearl River right there, because they got the stop. The punting unit was coming out, but instead of getting your offense back on the field with a chance to cut this thing back to a 1-possession game, 15 yards all the way into your territory, and the Hinds offense stays on the field.
Wow, 1st and 10 now for the Eagles at the Pearl River 39-yard line after they mark it off. Jaden Ridgway in on the defensive line for Pearl River, the freshman out of Pascagoula. Eagles have it. Tylen Morton takes the snap. Quick pass out into the left flat. It's caught there by Shorter. Shorter wrapped up and dumped for no gain on the play. Wildcats shadowed him beautifully there. Kyron Norwood led the charge for Pearl River. 2nd down and 10 upcoming. We mentioned that defensively for Pearl River, Jaden Ridgway from Pascagoula, that's where the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church. Remember the Ray Stevens song? In that sleepy little town of Pascagoula.
That's right.
2nd down and 10 for the Eagles. Morton wanting to throw, dumps it, finds his man out of the backfield. No gain, not much gain there for Jadarius Payne, the sophomore running back out of McGee. Maybe got 2. Good defensive play again by Janarius Johnson of Pearl River.
Pretty good job, though, by Tyler Morton, just to find Payne and that massive lineman there to avoid the sack and pick up at least 3 and make it, again, this is a little bit more manageable. Instead of 3rd and 11, It's 3rd down and 8.
But you notice he didn't really kind of throw the football. It was more of kind of a shot put.
Shovel, yeah,
you know?
exactly.
3rd down and 8 for the Eagles. The Pearl River defense off of the football a good 2 yards. They want to get a running start. Can't find anybody. Morton to his right. Dumps man wide open down the sideline, and Don Ragsdale can't find it.
Again, Kelly, it's that he couldn't find, but I think it kind of slid off of his hands as well. This ball is absolutely, as you said, it's almost as if it's greased out there. It is very difficult to hold on to the football. I don't think Hinds is going to mess around. Go ahead and pin this deep. This looks like the defenses are going to have a big-time advantage because of the field conditions and the conditions of the football itself here in the second half.
The field is really beginning to get scarred up on the as you see it from left to right between the 40 and the 20-yard line. That's where a good bit of the action has taken place tonight, but the field showing some wear and tear.
A lot more brown than green for sure.
Flum, who serves as the punter as well. An end-over-ender that is fielded at about the 10-yard line by the Wildcats.
It's a good kick. I mean, we've seen a pooch kick that's pinned the Wildcats back at the 4, that one at the 10. And, Kelly, the battle of field position has been absolutely lopsided in this ball game. In the first half, Kelly, the average starting field position for Pearl River was the 23-yard line. For Hinds, it was just on their side of the 50-yard line. So essentially every time that Hinds walks out on the field, they've only got half the field to cover to score, and obviously that's a big advantage when you've got one team literally having to go nearly 30 more yards than the other every single time they start their offense.
Stringfellow was the man that caught it for Pearl River, and it's down at the 11-yard line where the Wildcats will start 1st and 10 with 8:02 left to go here in the third quarter. Pearl River trailing Hinds 28-12. A little Utah pitch as they try to hit the man in motion to Keontae Payton. Penalty marker comes in very, very late at the line of scrimmage, but Payton was wrapped up behind the line. He was taken down at about the 9. The line of scrimmage was the 11, but no indication yet as to what this penalty is. Penalty marker in really late, about a second after the tackle was made. A personal foul against Pearl River.
Wow, so you're going to have the loss on the play, most likely a loss of down, and this will be a half the distance penalty to the end zone. So the play itself lost 4 yards. You're going to get another 4-yard loss essentially after the penalty, and at the 4-yard line will be Pearl River here on 2nd down.
And indeed it is a loss of down, 2nd down and about 19 for the Wildcats. They run the draw straight up the middle to the bulldozer Purnell, who gets back probably to the original line of scrimmage. It should bring up about a 3rd down and 10 for the River Cats with 7:38 left to go here in the third quarter tonight in Raymond.
Not many flags have been thrown tonight, Kelly. You know, Hinds has only had 2 penalties against them in the entire ball game. That was the 5th against Pearl River.
Both teams used all of their timeouts in the first half. Neither team has used a timeout here in the second. Again, 3rd down and 10. Purnell in the football game after Thompson went out after getting his bell rung. Tavis Williams wants to throw, does, and overthrows just slightly his receiver K.J. Breland. But Breland got up high enough, but again, right through his fingertips.
Well, actually, that was a really nice pump fake right there because it got exactly what they wanted, where the defender kept going thinking that Williams was going to try to hit Breland on a fly pattern. Breland stuck his cleats in the ground, stopped it, created the space. But again, I think that wet football caused the throw to be a little high. And as you said, Breland tried to go as high as he could, but that football's not easy to come up with.
Will Lang standing about 3 yards deep in the end zone to try to punt this one away for Pearl River. We'll see if he gets run into this time. This time he is unscathed. And the Eagles will let the football do what it will, and they kill it. They down it at the 45-yard line, very near where average starting position has been tonight.
I thought that Hinds was going to start again in Pearl River field position. Not that this isn't good field position, but you got to give Will Lang a lot of credit right there, Kelly. He's kicking a soaking wet, heavy football from his own end zone. That ended up being a 46-yard punt with no return. That's about all you could ask out of the Pearl River kicker right there.
The only football that would act more dead in those type of situations were ones that Tom Brady got a hold of before the game. 1st and 10 for the Eagles at their own 45-yard line. The give and go, trying the middle part of the field. Now to the right side is Ragsdale, and he is stood up and pushed out of bounds. He was able to get forward for a gain of about 3. A couple of Wildcats there to push him out. Reggie Williams and Darrell Luter. Brings up a 2nd down and 7.
A lot of old school hard hitting on that play, wasn't it, Kelly?
Luter is definitely the stud in the backfield for the Eagles from the near hash mark now, working left to right. Pearl River consistently with those 3 down linemen showing the blitz. Here they come after him. Lofts this football to the left side. Pass is caught and is able to avoid a tackler inside the 40 down to about the 36-yard line. Making that catch is Jovante Shorter. Got away from the initial hit and forward for a 1st down. The 36-yard line of Pearl River as the chains move again with 6 minutes even left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Looks like they moved too soon, but no flag on the play. Jadarius Payne, the ball carrier. Now there's a flag in there.
That's a late flag, and if it was moving too soon, there should have been no play.
See what they call here. It is a false start. I'm old. I might not hear as well as I used to, but I can see. And it really looked like to me like the Eagles jumped out of the nest a little bit early there. So it is a 5-yard mark off against the home team. The Hinds Eagles, and in basketball season, it's the Hinds Bulldogs, again, because of the 2 different campuses where those sports originate. Throwing to the right side, pass is caught and grabbed by Eric Clark. Clark is pushed down at about the 21-yard line. Making the stop officially for Pearl River is Darrell Luter. Also in the area for the River Cats is Ron Baker. But that's a 1st down for Hinds at the Pearl River 23-yard line with 5:21 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Hinds looking to extend a 28-12 lead.
We're really starting to get the air game going, up to nearly 230 yards through the air, and we're still with 20 minutes left in this football game.
Another penalty marker comes down, and pre-snap activity there on the offensive side of the ball will cost the Eagles 5 yards. But really, every time the Eagles have been under the gun with big yardage to make up, they come up with a big pass play, it seems.
Morton 17 of 24, 229, 3 scores.
1st and 15 for Hinds. Handing it off to Jadarius Payne. Payne weaves his way through traffic, gets inside the 15 and plunges down to the 14-yard line. Reggie Williams was there to finish him off. So he got back to the original line of scrimmage and then some.
Check that, Kelly. It's actually the 24-yard line, but still approaching the Red Burrito red zone once again for Hinds.
It is 2nd down and 11 after where they spot it. Throwing across the middle. This pass is incomplete. The first really bad pass of the night. Eric Clark was the intended receiver, but again, because of this, the slick football, he just lost the grip on that one. It was obvious.
That was that was a quintessential wet football throw. It was almost like if the ball was slipping out of his hands as he was going, and he just kind of pushed it in that direction.
Although that's the way Sonny Jurgensen with the Redskins always threw the football, back in the day.
Made a living.
3rd down and 11. The incompletion stops the clock with 4:28 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. But it's been on these long down situations that the Eagles have been very efficient tonight. We'll see what happens here. Here comes the blitz. Wrapping him up and then throwing this football toward the sideline. Corey Jackson made the tackle.
What a great job by Morton, not only to get rid of it, but he did throw it in at least the zip code of a wide receiver. And even the head referee pointed that way. And here comes the line judge pointing at him as well.
But they're contemplating here perhaps an intentional grounding call.
They're saying number 3 was in the area. And, Kelly, I think he was. I think Reginald Todd was in the area. That was an amazing job by Morton. It's going to allow them to go for it here on 4th and 11 because it would have been about 4th and 20.
Well, Reginald Todd certainly has been a thorn in the side of the Wildcats tonight here on 4th down and 11 now. Wildcats coming from a stand-up approach defensively. And the throw goes across the middle and incomplete. Nice job of pursuit by the Wildcat defensive front led by Dezekius Chapman, the freshman defensive tackle out of Lake, Mississippi.
Yeah, That was a great job by the Pearl River defense. And it was also, again, a little credit to Morton. How many times do you see a quarterback on 4th down? You just tell him, just throw it, see what happens. He did. And I'm telling you, that came too close for comfort and to his where he was trying to throw the football to complete that for a 1st down. But, again, that was, if there was a must-stop in the game, seriously, and up until this point, that was it. The Wildcats could not give up any points at that juncture. They did get off the field. Now the offense has got to try to put together a drive.
Because it is still a 2-possession game. Handoff on the delay, and carrying the football is T.J. Wash. Wash gets over left tackle for a pickup of about 3. T.J. is a freshman running back out of Scott Central High School.
And since that big hit from Ron Thompson, we have not seen him back in the ball game yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. But that would be a big loss, obviously, for this Pearl River offense.
Man, when he took that spear right in the middle of the back, I would not have gotten up. Here's Thompson right here, spins away from a tackler, and now goes to the sideline.
What a tough kid, and what a great run. Saved a 3 or 4 yard loss, turned it into a 3-yard game, makes it 3rd down and about 3 yards left to go, maybe even 2.
He was hammered out of bounds by Jonathan Jordan, the freshman defensive back out of Greenville St. Joe's. So 3rd down and 1 for Pearl River with 3:25 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Pearl River trailing 28-12. So again, it's a 16-point differential, but officially still a 2-score game.
And Kelly, they're giving them the 1st down again. The chain gang. Yes, there you go.
Man.
So, what a spot that was. And again, the Pearl River Wildcats, the beneficiary. That you can't complain about the spots for Pearl River tonight and the way the chains have moved, but that was a unbelievable. You thought it was a good run before when you thought it was 4 or 5 yards. For him to get all 6 of those instead of lose yards, a spectacular run by Ron Thompson.
No need to set up a GoFundMe page tonight for Pearl River offensively. On the delay, it's Thompson following his blockers, but only a minimal gain of about 1.5 yards. Making the tackle, Isaiah Hunt, that 6'2", 300-pound sophomore out of Ackerman, Mississippi. 2nd down and 8 for Pearl River with 2:33 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Said it early in the quarter. Because of this missed and what we saw in those initial plays, Kelly, the advantage was to the defense, and we are 2 minutes left to go in a scoreless 3rd quarter. And if Pearl River is going to get back in this game, it looks like they're going to have to do it on the ground.
2nd down and 8. Tavis Williams, the quarterback out of Harrison Central, leading the way for Pearl River. Lofts this one up down the sideline looking for a receiver, and he was. The receiver for Pearl River, Keontae Payton, was nailed. This is a very easy pass interference call.
It's one of those situations, Kelly, where easy call, but if you're a coach, you got to. If you're beat like that, Peyton had him beat, and if he lets him get one more half step without being pulled, he makes that catch and runs it in the end zone for a touchdown. Unlike the pros, that's not a 40 or 50-yard penalty. It ends up being a 15-yard penalty. That's one of those where the defensive back, yeah, it's on me, but he got beat right there. Keontae Payton with a beautiful move, and it was a great throw, even though it was a wobbler. With as bad as that football's, as slick as that football is, Tavis Williams had it on the money. That would have been a touchdown.
Rarely will you ever hear a coach come up to you and say it was a 15-yard penalty, but good job. You know.
Yeah. Actually, we've got offsetting unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that were on the play as well. We didn't get a number on that, so this game's starting to get a little bit chippy. I don't know if you saw it. There was no penalty call, but the offensive lineman for Hinds kind of threw a punch on the failed 4th down conversion a moment ago. Now 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, but they do mark off the pass interference penalty, so the Wildcats just across the 50 into Hinds territory.
2 minutes, 1 second left to go in the 3rd quarter. It would really help the Pearl River cause here if the Wildcats could put up some points here in the 3rd quarter, but with just 2:01 left to go. Tavis Williams with T.J. Wash in the backfield. He gives it to Wash, and Wash finds some room. Wash down the sideline takes himself out of the play at the 25-yard line. T.J. Wash, the freshman running back out of Forest, Mississippi.
That was 22 yards right there, and that was, without question, one of the best runs of the night. There was actually some room to roam right there. Wash's best run of the season for a 22-yarder, and now the Wildcats are on the move.
Wash will now have to wash that uniform, as it was sparkling clean a moment ago, but now getting some reps here tonight. It'll go into the Wash machine. Here's 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Tavis Williams fakes it to Wash, will run it himself straight up the gut. And the ball's on the ground, I believe. The football was knocked out of the hands of Tavis Williams. The Eagles believe they have it, and they will unstack the pile there.
This would be a critical turnover. We've had none so far in this ball game. Pearl River needed this drive, and they're not going to get it. It is Eagle football.
1:12 left to go in the third quarter. Tavis Williams had picked up about 8 yards on the play, but as he was trying to plunge forward for another yard or two, that ball popped loose, and the Eagles pounced on top of it. So they have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line with 1:12 left to go here in the third quarter. Marshall Kozma in the game now. Or Kozma. There's a handoff. And just trying to burn some clock here and keep it on the ground, but Redante Womack will have nothing to do with that as Womack makes the stop after a gain of a yard. 52 seconds left to go here in the third quarter. 2nd down and 9 for the Eagles. 3 receivers here to the near side of the field.
There simply is no room for error right here for the Pearl River defense because the opportunities on offense are starting to shrink.
Give and go again, but the Pearl River defensive line stacking up the play and finding Don Ragsdale immediately after he was given the football. No gain. Brings 3rd down and 9.
I was going to say, because the referees have not blown the play clock into play, that's actually going to be the last play of the third quarter, most likely. I can't imagine Hinds would run one up 16 points.
And you can actually see the coaches on the sidelines holding their hands up to give the halt signal, like we're good for the third quarter. So with 4 seconds left to go in the quarter, that'll do it. 3 are in the books. No points put up on the board here in the third quarter at the end of 3. It's Hinds 28, Pearl River 12. Back with the fourth quarter after this 1-minute timeout. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
Get treated like family at the Poplarville Eye Clinic. Poplarville Eye Clinic can take care of your basic exam needs, and their professional staff treats dry eyes, allergy issues, pink eye, and glaucoma problems. Poplarville Eye Clinic offers pediatric exams and can fit regular and specialty contacts. Need glasses? Pick from brands like Ray-Ban, Coach, Nike, and Guess. Book your own appointment on their Facebook page or stop by 1249 South Main Street in Poplarville. Call 601-795-0137.
It's another exciting year as we support the Golden Eagle team.
We're all in for Southern Miss football.
How about you? You'll find the best teams for customer service and price. At Pine Belt Chevrolet, Courtesy Ford, and Pine Belt Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. From tough trucks to your favorite SUVs to performance and fun, we're all in for you.
As we begin the fourth quarter, thanks to our sponsors, Red Burrito, bringing south of the border menu items north of the border. Red Burrito located inside of Hardee's in Poplarville. Anderson's Design Center, Poplarville Eye Center in Poplarville. More in a moment. This ball lofted down the middle, looking for a receiver up at the 50-yard line. Incomplete. The intended receiver there as Tylen Morton was throwing to Kwame Stewart. Kwame, the freshman out of Hazelhurst. Incomplete, and that'll bring up a 4th down. And the Wildcats will get the football in pretty good field position.
Kelly, in that third quarter, Pearl River moved the football. They had 91 yards of offense. 84 of it was on the ground. In fact, they outgained Hinds 91-54, but no points. Hinds' defense bending but not breaking, and Pearl River's offense has got to come up with something on this drive.
Klum boots it away. Was not a great punt, but it did hit one of the Eagles right at the 50-yard line.
And will Pearl River actually start in Hinds territory? Hinds has done it to Pearl River 5 times. Why not return the favor at least once?
Stay tuned. 14:43 left to go. If the Wildcats could put up a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, gets it down to a 1-score game. Pearl River returns home next Thursday night for the Cat fight against Jones. Jones was having its way tonight in Ellisville against Southwest. 28-14 was that score late in the second quarter. Another big South Division matchup. So 1st and 10 for the River Cats, working left to right with 14:43 left to go in this football game. They fake it to Wash and then pass out into the left flat. Making the reception there, and his first one of the night is Hayden Bryce, the freshman wide receiver out of Jackson St. Joe's.
Kelly Bryce, this is Drew Brees-esque. The 8th different receiver to make a catch tonight for Pearl River. Tavis Williams spreading it around in his 15 completions.
Gain of 5 on the play, 2nd down and 5, and stepping out of bounds to conserve every precious second. 2nd down and 5. Tavis Williams calls for the football, fakes the handoff, he'll run it himself, and gets yardage and more down that sideline, cuts it back in to the 25-yard line. Tavis Williams with some nice footwork of his own gets a first down for the River Cats inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line.
Well, that read option worked to perfection right there, did it not? Everyone just kind of got sucked into where they thought the running back was going to carry that up the middle. Tavis Williams doing his work on the outside, 22 yards on the pickup.
On the handoff to Wash, but he'll find it very tough sledding there, as he might not have even gotten back to the line of scrimmage. So Wash will have a breather, and here comes Ron Thompson into the game. Boy, you've seen Ron Thompson the last couple of years as being his second season. You really hope he's going to get a good shot at a D1 school. Such a good guy and a hard worker and just tough as nails. 2nd down and 10. Clock moving with 13:35 left to go. Tavis Williams wants to throw, stands in the pocket, lofts this one over the head of everybody. His intended receiver in the end zone was K.J. Breland, the sophomore out of Forest County AHS. Incomplete, 3rd down and 10 upcoming.
Kelly, that was the first bad throw of the night, I think, Tavis Williams. Obviously, he's had some slip out of his hands, but that was just a poor decision because that was the absolute best possible result for Pearl River was the incompletion. There were only 2 defenders back there. An interception right there would have been a killer. Somehow Pearl River's got to get this 10 yards and move the chains because, again, the opportunities are starting to dwindle, and 16 points is 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions. Pearl River's got to be perfect on offense.
Dwayne Lee, the receiver from Oak Grove, is in. Tavis Williams avoids pressure to begin with, then loses the ball and has to fall back on top of it. Again, a very slick pigskin has been really wreaking havoc for both of these teams in the second half. Pearl River fortunate to maintain possession, but a loss on the play of about 3 yards will bring up a 4th down and 13.
Yeah, this field is just not conducive for the team that's trying to come back in the ball game. The team with the lead has a huge advantage because the defenses have a huge advantage. We haven't seen a single point in the second half, and now the playbook is awfully short on 4th and 14, but somehow Pearl River needs to find somebody open and keep this drive alive.
Ron Thompson will head in motion to the left. We've got flags everywhere. The Eagles think it's against the Wildcats.
And it is. That makes it, if you thought 4th and 14 was tough, 4th and 19, no easier.
So now would you at all consider doing a pooch kick and trying to hem the Eagles in deep?
Again, I think that you're in a situation, Kelly, where realistically, sure, you could get it 3 more times, but realistically, there's 2 more real possessions probably left in this ball game because Hinds is obviously going to try to milk as much of that clock as possible. And you need 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. So I mean, you might as well go for it here and hope that you can kind of pull a rabbit out of the hat.
That's exactly what Pearl River will try to do here with Thompson split to the right of Tavis Williams. Now they put him in motion to the left side. Might be that same play. They look toward Thompson. Nothing there. Tavis is in trouble. A flag down. Tavis gets away from one man. Williams cuts it to the near side. Dives to the 15-yard line, which still wouldn't be enough, but a penalty flag back at the 38-yard line.
1 yard short, but it's going to be a hold against Pearl River as the linemen were doing everything they could to try to keep Tavis Williams upright. So there's the penalty, even though it was a 18-yard gain, and this would walk it back. And if it's a spot foul as well, walk it way back. If you're Hinds, you say, no, give me the football. We'll be glad to have it. And that's exactly what they did. As again, Williams, with a great scramble, he didn't know there was a flag back there. He was doing everything he could to get the first down. He got 18 of the 19 he needed, but was just short, and so it's Eagle football.
But you know what? I'm not sure that I wouldn't have, if I were Hinds, I'm not sure that I would have taken that penalty. To march him back even farther.
I can understand the argument, but if they end up converting after you could have had the football, that's a question you don't want to answer in the post-game press conference.
Straight snap back to Don Ragsdale out of the Wildcat formation, and he's over right tackle for maybe a yard. The Spirit of the River Band across the way has some lights illuminating their playing over there. That's kind of cool. You don't see that very often. 2nd down and 9. 11:47 left to go in the ball game. Pearl River trailing 28-12. No points have been put on the board here in the second half by either team. Again to Ragsdale. Again, he's brought down, this time by Kyron Norwood. He got forward for a gain of about 3 yards.
And Hinds is basically telling you they're putting this game in the hands of their defense because they have not given up a single point in the second half. They feel the field conditions are what they are. They're in their favor. They aren't going to try anything fancy right here. I mean, these are just Wildcat snaps with Ragsdale running it directly into the line. Of course, they're trying to convert here, but the defense of Pearl River a chance to get a 3-and-out here on 3rd and 6.
Tylen Morton rolls to his left. Throws this one, looks for his receiver, incomplete up at about the 50-yard line. He was trying to find Javante Shorter. Shorter was turned one direction, had to turn around the other way, and it just didn't work. So the Eagles will come in to try to punt it away.
That wasn't the prettiest offensive possession for Hinds, was it? I mean, it's kind of like you began the drive saying, we're just going to run it 3 times, and if we have to punt it back, we will, and we're going to take 2 minutes off the clock. But then after 2 runs, you actually throw a pretty poor pass that wasn't really close to being complete, and you stop the clock, and now you're going to give it right back to Pearl River again.
Eli Strongfellow back for Pearl River on a quick snap.
Short kick.
To Flum. And again, now the Eagles try to kick it downfield another 3 or 4 yards, but Pearl River with great field position at the Eagles' 46-yard line with 10:51 left to go. A short field, but the Wildcats have got to kick it into gear here.
Well, that wasn't what Hinds wanted, and that was what Pearl River wanted and needed. When you're down 16, you need to get your offense the ball back and get it to them quickly. And that's exactly what happened on the 3-and-out. They got an incompletion to boot, and then a 24-yard punt didn't help matters at all for Hinds, and the Wildcats start their first drive of the night in Hinds territory. The last one actually was on the 50, so 2 times in a row Pearl River's had good position, but they got to take advantage now. They're running out of opportunities. This is a must-score situation.
1st and 10, the handoff to Thompson on the left side, gets forward for a gain of about 2 or 3, being wrapped up on the play by Accord Green, the 6'3", 225-pound defensive tackle out of New Orleans de La Salle High School. 2nd down coming up. Wildcats really cannot afford to waste a lot of time here. 3 receivers to the right side. On a 2nd down, working left to right for Pearl River with 10:15 left to go. Tavis Williams wants to throw, does. He tried to find Hayden Bryce, incomplete. Down at about the 37-yard line, brings up a 3rd down and 10, or 3rd down and about 8, rather.
Had to get rid of it a little quicker than he wanted to because of the penetration. Nice job by the defensive line of Hinds, getting in the face of Tavis Williams, forcing the incompletion.
On the Anderson Design Center scoreboard in the NFL, the Rams leading the Vikings 28-17 as they near halftime. And in college football tonight, Miami leading North Carolina 33-10 at half. Faking the handoff, running it himself. Tavis Williams with the football inside the 35 down to about the 34-yard line. That'll be a first down and move the chains. Pearl River in business after getting the first down.
10 yards on the carry. Tavis Williams, after actually only having 6 yards, Kelly, in his first 9 carries, he's got 15 for 61 on the game. He's gotten it going offensively. 6 carries for 55 yards. 55 yards on his last 6 carries is what I should have said. But Tavis Williams, a big 10-yard pickup and a big first down for Pearl River.
Out of the shotgun, Pearl River looking to cut that advantage down to a 1-possession game. Fakes to Thompson, throws across the middle. He has his man. That is complete to Tyler Polk at the 15-yard line and wiggles forward for another couple yards down to the 13. Pearl River in business at the Eagle 13-yard line.
Polk approaching the 100-yard mark. He only had 106 on the season coming in, Kelly. That's his 6th catch for 90 yards, a 19-yard pickup, and the Wildcats in the red burrito red zone.
1st and 10. Ron Thompson will split to the left of Tavis Williams. They fake it to Thompson. Tavis runs it himself. Tavis Williams into the end zone. That's a Wildcat touchdown.
A moment ago, Hinds gets the defensive stop they wanted, but goes 3 and out about as quickly as you can go, and then a terrible punt, and Pearl River takes advantage. A 46-yard drive. This 2-point conversion is huge. If they get it, it's back to a 1-score game.
Or as the president would say, it's huge coming up here for the Wildcats because it was a 16-point lead. So you need every single point in a 2-possession game. You can ill afford to miss either one. And with 8:57 left to go, 1 second left on the play clock, and the Wildcats will have to call a timeout, and do, with 1 second left on the play clock. So Pearl River has used one of its 3. And if there is ever a good time to call one, it's right here, because you can ill afford for any miscommunication or not anybody being on the same page here when every single point is paramount.
Well, the difference between an 8 and a 10-point ball game is, anybody out there knows that difference. You're already down under 9 minutes left to go. And if you're only in a 1-score situation, you just need the football once, one good drive, and you tie this thing up, send it to overtime, and give yourself a chance to get the win on the road here, and a divisional win at that. But a 10-point ball game, honestly, it just keeps it keeps the team in the lead in that cruise control mode. They're not panicking yet, and there's a big difference psychologically and, of course, on the board between 8 and 10.
So here we go. It's 28-18. Pearl River trying to go for 2 here to make it a 28-20 ball game. Ron Thompson is right there to the right of Tavis Williams. Tavis takes the snap, throws it complete to Tyler Polk, but he was shadowed there and knocked down almost immediately by Amos Robinson. So the 2-point conversion fails. 28-18, a 10-point game. Still, you don't have to get 2 touchdowns to tie this game now. Field goal comes into play with a 10-point differential with 8:57 left to go. As we check the Anderson Design Center scoreboard, Colin leading Gulf Coast 21-3. Colin 21, Gulf Coast 3. That's in the 3rd quarter down in Perk. Jones is rolling at home tonight against Southwest. That's 48-14 in the 3rd quarter. Coahoma leads Delta, Coahoma 12, Delta 10. That's a 3rd quarter score. Northeast 24, Itawamba 17. That's in the 3rd quarter up in Itawamba. Northwest leading Holmes 27-14. They've gone to the 4th quarter in that game. And East Mississippi has gone back ahead of East Central 21-15. That is a 4th quarter score. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Anderson Design Center off of Highway 98 in Oak Grove, proud to support Pearl River Wildcat Athletics. As you see, the Eagles bring the football back to the 38-yard line with 8:49. And David, would you be surprised if the Eagles, considering it's a 10-point game now instead of 8, would you be surprised if the Eagles tried to implement a passing attack here?
I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to the running attack. I mean, they seem to have gone a little conservative, Kelly. So it'll be interesting to see if they do try to air it out a little bit. It's been in a situation where they've chosen to run it more than pass it for sure, and that's what I expect.
And that's what Ragsdale does, is they give it to him forward for a gain of about 4 on the play. Tackle on the play made by Jaden Ridgway. And you'd expect them to run the football because it burns the clock. Pearl River does have 2 timeouts.
I think it's also the difference between an 8 and a 10-point game. They feel comfortable. They feel comfortable to try to run the football. I think that was an illegal snap coming up here. You didn't see the lineman move, but the ball moved, and I think that's what drew Pearl River across the line.
This will be a 5-yarder against the Eagles. You hear the referee sometimes say, illegal motion, everybody except the center. It's a 5-yarder against the Eagles. Takes it back now to a 2nd down and about 12.
Unique stat in this ball game, Kelly. 7 touchdowns have been scored, but only 2 successful point afters.
That is rare. Pass across the middle, batted down by Stringfellow. A beautiful job. They were trying to hit Reginald Todd on the fly. And Reginald Todd's name has not been called here in the second half, Captain D. David Sutton. So at halftime, the dry erase board got some use as to how to keep Reginald Todd out of the equation, and that has proven to be the case here in the second half.
Kelly, Hinds had 270 yards of offense in the first half. In the second half, 60 so far.
Look at how far the Pearl River defensive linemen are off the ball as they get a running start, screen pass to the near side. It's Eric Clark. Clark up to about the 46-yard line. Depending on where they spot it, they're going to be about a yard short, we think. But the way these officials dish out first downs.
Yeah, that might go against you on this situation. But it does look like it is about a yard short. And Kelly, what do? If you play head coach, we've seen Hinds go a little conservative, but 4th down at about a half a yard from their own 47-yard line, but the referees still haven't put the ball down yet. How long does it take to put the football down?
Well, the chain gang along the far side of the field started to work its way down the field as if it was going to be a first down. And as liberal as they've been early on in this contest, they really do need to be more conscientious as to how far there is for first downs and not just dish them out like nothing, because it's very important, particularly at this stage of the game.
They're trying to reset the clock because it took them so long to set the football. It is going to be short. So it's 4th down and 1. Hinds still has its offense on the field, although they could be trying to draw Pearl River off. I would be shocked with a 10-point lead in their own territory if they go for this.
7:42, clock is moving. Pearl River trails by 10, 28-18. Now with 7:35 left to go in the game. They've got 15 seconds left on the play clock. Expect for Tylen Morton to run the clock down as far as he can. Twin receivers stacked to the near side. They may call a timeout, and they do.
So they call timeout. What they did was it was smart. They just burned 25 seconds off the clock. Every second precious at the moment. And now, just like Pearl River did earlier in the football game, Kelly, back in the first quarter, they're just going to talk it over and decide, do we want to go for it? And if we do want to go for it, they're going to put in their best possible play here. But it looks like the punting unit is coming out. And that's what I would expect in that situation.
The Division I schools this weekend, Southern Miss will be playing at Auburn on the Plains at Jordan-Hare. I think that's a 3:30 start maybe on Saturday. Ole Miss playing LSU down at Tiger Stadium. And Mississippi State entertains Florida, the return of Dan Mullen in Starkville this weekend. That ought to be a lively.
A warm reception I'm sure he'll get.
4th down. Klum's kick is a low liner.
Returnable.
Stringfellow snags it at the 15, quickly streaking forward, and is taken down at the 30. Decent field position and a late. It looked like to me it was on the Eagles. Dylan Owen, the freshman tight end out of West Lincoln High School, came in and popped one of the Wildcats well after the play. I think this is against the Eagles, but we'll see.
Did they get the second man? Because that happens a lot. The Wildcats did put his arm up there.
Dylan Owen, number 42 for the Eagles. I saw him actually throw a punch after the whistle was thrown, after the whistle was blown, rather, a good 2 seconds after the play. So we'll see here if there was some verbal truculence that caused him to do it.
They did get the second man. They got Pearl River on the response. And that's going to mark it back from the 30 to the 15-yard line.
But that was so blatant, I could tell you exactly what the number was. It was 42 for the Eagles.
And Pearl River needing 2 scores, that 15 yards. Really, it was a 30-yard difference. If you're going to call it against one, the Pearl River, instead of starting, they weren't going to start at the 30, obviously. Instead of starting at the 45 all the way back to the 15-yard line, only 7:09 remaining.
28-18. The Eagles lead it. The only points in the second half have been put on the board by Pearl River. Wildcats have 2 receivers to the near side. And again, for the record, the Wildcats and the Eagles each have just 2 timeouts left.
You know, Kelly, this is the second week in a row we've seen the Pearl River defense throw a shutout in the second half. And can the offense this week, came up 3 points short last week, can the offense this week put up enough to get Pearl River a victory?
I would just like to know who the penalty was on a Pearl River, because I saw Dylan Owen clearly throw a haymaker over there, and I didn't see anything unusual at Pearl River unless, like I said, it was some moving some lips. Ron Thompson out of bounds near first down territory, and I would look, too, for in this football game for Pearl River to try to implement the experience that Ron Thompson, not to mention his skill set that he brings to the table, if Pearl River is to erase this 10-point deficit. They said he stepped out after a gain of 5. Clock moving now, not really sure why, with 6:42 left to go in the game.
It's up until 5 minutes. When they reset the ball, it will roll if he gets out of bounds, but after that, they'll stop it until the next snap.
2nd down and 5. We get to 6:27 now left to go in the game. Tavis Williams fakes the handoff and then gets it out into the flat. Nice reception up to about the 40-yard line. Making that catch is Hayden Bryce, the freshman out of Jackson St. Joe's.
Well, that's fantastic, though, downfield blocking, Kelly. That's one of those ones where the blockers ought to get an assist on that 18-yard pickup. That was a great job down there, giving Bryce room to roam down the far sideline.
Wildcats back to work as we're just south of 6 minutes left to go now. Play action, wants to throw again. Tavis Williams in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. That was Bryce again up near midfield. Incomplete, and that will stop the clock now with 5:53 left to go in this football game in Raymond. Pearl River trailing Hinds 28-18.
What a night for Tavis Williams, though, Kelly. Coming in, had only completed around 33% of his passes, 11 of 31 on the season. Tonight, 17 of 24 for 164 for Tavis Williams. He's also run the football for 75 yards and a score, and he's used 8 different receivers in those 17 completions.
3 receivers to the near side, including a twin stack. As you see, the Eagles look like they were offside here. Tavis Williams is flush from the pocket, will try to run it himself, and does get up to about the 46-yard line. Looks like a gain of about 7 on the play. But now as Pearl River, the Wildcats just don't have a whole lot of time to be able to slowly work their way down the field, trailing by 10 here with 5:30 left to go.
You've got to just keep moving the chains. Maybe even if you get into field goal range, take the field goal, because you need 2 scores one way or the other.
Williams calls for the football. fakes or actually gets it to Ron Thompson, but a penalty marker comes in.
That's a stoppage of play, Kelly. That's a pre-snap penalty. I believe this is going to go against Pearl River on a false start. One of the interior linemen.
And that is the call. So it goes against the Wildcats with 5:14 left to go. One step forward and a step back now, but Wildcats need a big play here to try to conserve some time in a two-score game. This big South Division matchup. Wildcats with two losses in the South Division. A third one would be a fatal blow as far as the playoffs are concerned. 4 down lineman for Hinds. Tavis Williams out of the pocket, rolls to his left and goes out of bounds at about the 42. He had no choice.
And for all intents and purposes, this is your ball game right here. Pearl River, if they don't convert, they've got 2 timeouts left. Might be able to get the ball back once, but would really need something extra special. This 4th down and 7 is a must convert for Pearl River.
Yeah, there's no 10-point play in football. So here we go with 3 receivers to the near side for Tavis, and now time is called. And the Eagles will take a timeout. We'll take one with them with 4:37 left to go in the game. It's Hinds 28, Pearl River 18. You're watching Wildcat football on PRCCmedia.com.
We want to thank you for quickly making Pine Belt Chevrolet one of the area's biggest dealerships. We're selling a lot of vehicles because you're finding out the best price and best service are right here. And during Truck Month, you get 18% off all 2018 Silverado 1500s, plus 90-day deferred payment. And 14% off all 2018 Tahoes, or choose from a big selection of certified pre-owned. New Pine Belt Chevrolet, Highway 98 West at Bellevue. Count on it.
Four minutes, 37 seconds left to go tonight at Hinds. The Wildcats have a 4th down and a long 7 or a short 8 to really keep hope alive here for a comeback, even though the Wildcats are the only team that have scored here in the second half. Conditions have got very, very damp. Here's the 4th down play. Tavis Williams on this pass. It's caught by Thompson. Thompson will not get there. Made the catch, but you knew that they were going to be pretty close to where he was. Kirkland Horton, the sophomore defensive back out of Water Valley, makes the tackle for Hinds, and the ball goes over on downs. And you would expect now that the Eagles would try to forge the run here, and if nothing else, make the Wildcats exhaust their timeouts.
And that's, I tell you what, there was some grass there, Kelly. There was some open space, but a good job by Hinds' defense. I mean, they closed quickly, and it's not the easiest thing to tackle Ron Thompson in the open field, and they did just that. They did exactly what they had to do to get Pearl River's offense off the field.
So Tylen Morton now will get to work, hands it off to Don Ragsdale. He's been their workhorse all year long. He's only able to pick up 2 or 3 yards. Ron Baker, the freshman cornerback out of Jefferson Davis High School, there for Pearl River. 2nd down and 9, but again, the Eagles aren't going to get greedy here. They'll burn as much clock as possible. They don't even have to snap it until about 3:40 left to go in the game.
Wouldn't, barring obviously a change in the score of some kind, I don't think Hinds is going to put the ball in the air for the rest of the night. There's no reason to, especially under these conditions. You not only it's just the danger of the pass, but it may not come out of the quarterback's hands correctly. It's going to be all runs from here.
And there is the run, but boy, the Wildcats were expecting it and were all over the runner. Kyron Norwood and Jamerick Waller out of Poplarville there with authority. A loss of about 3 on the play. Again, Ragsdale went backward there. Ragsdale could really be a star in this league. He's just a freshman, a 6'1", 215-pounder out of Pisgah, home of the Dragons. So 3rd down and 12 as we near 3 minutes left to go in the game. Now they may want to throw here.
Wow.
They do. Toward the sideline, it's intercepted at about the 22-yard line. Stringfellow for Pearl River up to about the 40.
A semi-safe pass, Kelly, because first of all, you're thinking maybe even if it's intercepted, it kind of acts like a punt if the defender goes down. But then he didn't go down. But think about it. Even on the return, he gets to the 40. If you run it for a few yards, it's actually back at the 47, 46. But even with all that said, it worked out okay in the end for Hinds, but I was surprised with the play call right there because that was a little bit of a risk. If you've got your offensive players, you're banking on them making a tackle for the return man there. Good job by Pearl River to get the interception, and at least a small pulse left here, 2:53, but they need something and something quick to get on the board.
But you could also put it up in the air and hope for the penalty, a pass interference play or something. Tavis Williams depends on his own feet there and gets forward for a gain of about 3 before he was brought down on the play by Darren Peterson, the sophomore defensive end out of Atlanta, GA.
I like how judicious that Tavis Williams has been with the football, but now's the time to take some chances. You got to start to force the ball down the field and hope your receivers can make a play.
2:27 left to go. Play action. Williams throws it to the near sideline, too short. The pass was short. Even going down to his knees, Tyler Polk could not make that reception. It brings up a 3rd down and about 7 now with 2:22 left to go in the ball game. Remember, it's a 2-score game. Pearl River trailing 28-18.
Yeah, you need yards in chunks. You got to have yards in chunks right here. So something's got to go to maybe something down the seam. Try to get a big play here on 3rd down.
Tavis Williams looks left, throws across the middle. It is caught by Tyler Polk, and Polk gets down inside Hinds territory at about the 45-yard line before he was wrapped up by Kyrie Fields, the freshman defensive back out of New Hope High School.
And Tyler Polk just went over the 100-yard mark. Congratulations to him on a great night.
The officials will call timeout here as one of the Eagles is down at about the 45-yard line on the far side of the field. In the South Division, and is there a penalty marker down there as well on the far side of the field at that 45?
There is. I don't know who it could be on.
Unless it's on the Pearl River bench.
Coach Ted Egger is having a long discussion as the player is down for Hinds.
So we'll try to sort all this out for you. And while David keeps an eye on that, let me tell you about the South Division. Hinds right now is at 1-1. And the Eagles with a win here would go 2-1 in division and very much in the playoff chase.
And now going back over to tell Ted Egger what they've come up with.
And this might mean that somebody for Pearl River is taking an early shower.
The ball rests on the 46-yard line. You essentially need about 20 to 25 more yards to get into field goal range and try to get some points on the board. But if this goes backwards at all, it's...
But now 4 officials over there talking to Ted Egger. And they're all located there by the first.
You know, the Hinds coaching staff would like to know what's going on as well. All the talk, as you said, is across the field, and that flag still just lays there at the 44-yard line.
And we've been given no indication yet as to what that flag might be about. But the discussion takes place at the first down pole, the very first one there.
Whatever it is, Ted Egger is arguing as best he possibly can. So we may get our indication finally right here.
And obviously, I don't think he was discussing his options with Ted Egger as far as where you could have the football.
Flag's been picked up, still no indication.
It is unsportsmanlike against Pearl River.
And somebody has been ejected. So 15 more yards, and these are, well, every inch right now is huge as Pearl River needs big plays in a hurry, but that 15 yards puts Pearl River up at the 80-yard mark, penalty-wise, 9 on the night that have been accepted against Pearl River for 80. That's a big one.
2 minutes, 13 seconds left to go. Now the line judge wants to get in on the discussion.
So they gave Pearl River the first down.
Gee, thanks.
But here's the thing, is that, again, because they gave them the first down but said it happened after the play, it's 1st and 25. And now that may not be that big of a deal right now. Nope, they are going to move the chains back. So you got 11 yards on the pickup, and you lost 15 yards on the exchange. So a 4-yard negative right there, 1st and 10, Pearl River.
The Eagles have 1 timeout. Pearl River has 2. 1st and 10. Wildcats not out of it if they can get a big play here. Tavis Williams. Is there anybody to throw to? He gets away. Williams starts to sprint. Gets a great block from Ron Thompson.
A good job getting out of bounds there, too, to stop the clock.
Right at the 50-yard line. So we'll see what happens here now.
Tavis Williams is 2 yards short of 100 yards rushing on the night to go along with 179 through the air.
Looks like Donald Kinchin, the offensive lineman from Oak Grove, is out of the game with an injury for PRC. 1st and 10 with 1:45 left to go. Williams wants to throw. Cranks this one toward the end zone. Looking for a receiver. It is intercepted by Demario Nichols, the 6'1", 175-pound freshman defensive back out of Pearl.
Kelly, there's 1:35 left. You had to do it. You had to take your shot because at some point you got to not only score once, but you got to score twice. And so good job there. It was the right thing to do. Take your chance and see if your receiver can maybe rip one away or make a play. Couldn't do it. The ball is spotted on the 1-yard line. Pearl River with 2 timeouts, so theoretically they could get the football back. But the only thing that could really save them right here would be some sort of a bad snap, because remember, a safety would put it back to a 1-score game. I know you're grasping at straws here, but the ball is on the 1-yard line.
You're right. You're right. 2 points and then a touchdown and a 2-point conversion would tie it. So 1:35 left to go.
Hinds is taking its final timeout here because actually the play clock was on the move. And so they're already basically at the goal line, and they didn't want to give up another half a yard or so. But again, the only thing you got left in your hat to pull out of here for Pearl River is some sort of unbelievable defensive play or maybe a mishandled or bad snap and hope for that safety.
Colin is beating Gulf Coast 28-3 at Perk tonight. That's in the 3rd quarter. Jones leading Southwest 48-21 in the 3rd. Coahoma leads Delta 20-17, which means Delta has scored not 1 but 2 touchdowns.
Hey, Delta has put a few points on the board this year.
Northeast leading Itawamba 31-17. It's a final in Senatobia tonight. Northwest 27, Holmes 14. And a final in Decatur, East Mississippi 24, East Central 21.
Wow, what an effort by the Warriors.
So 1st and 10. They really can't take a knee here. They just have to try to plow forward. And they do up to about the 5-yard line, and Pearl River will call a timeout.
Well, and what that did, though, Kelly, was give them the breathing room they needed, where that safety almost is kind of out of play right here as they're able to kind of bull forward for a pickup of about 3.
Now, Pearl River does have 1 stoppage left, but that would only take the Eagles to a 3rd down situation. So they'll be able to work it down a good bit. So even if Pearl River gets the football back, you're only looking at probably 25 seconds or so. And again, it is a 2-score game.
Pearl River's defense in the second half. Again, after an 8, they did give up 270 yards in the first half now, but in the second half, Kelly, they've only given up 73 yards and are about, barring something crazy, to pitch another shutout in the second half. It's just I tell you what, that touchdown drive right before the half, when you look back on it, that was really the difference maker.
2nd down and 7 for the record, but again, nothing fancy here, just running right straight ahead is Tylen Morton.
And I think he did. On 2 quarterback sneaks, he actually got the first down, and that will bring out the victory formation.
1:21 left to go, but Pearl River will call its final timeout. So now it's just a matter of taking the victory formation, and they will at the most have to snap it twice. So with this win, Hinds will up its overall record to 3-2, but most importantly 2-1 in South Division play, which is very much in the thick of the playoff chase, because Colin, it would appear, is getting ready to go 2-0. Jones is looking to go 3-0, and East Central with the loss tonight at East against East in Decatur. The Warriors take their first loss of the year. So it's going to be a very competitive chase for those 2 playoff spots. 28-18 here. The ball is snapped. So the clock moving now with 1:14 left to go. And again, the Wildcats can't stop it, but on 2nd down, this is just formality here now. Wildcats will get ready to entertain Jones next Thursday night for the annual Cat Fight. That'll be a 6 o'clock start on the campus in Poplarville at Dobie Holden Stadium. The Cat Fight is always a doozy, and it would be a great opportunity for Pearl River to slap a loss on Jones, who the Bobcats might be coming in with an undefeated South Division record. 30 seconds left to go. It doesn't look like they'll be forced to snap this one again, as players are beginning to head to their sidelines, and they'll meet at the 50-yard stripe to shake hands. Final score tonight, with just a few seconds remaining on the clock, the Hinds Eagles 28, the Pearl River Wildcats 18. Captain D, final thoughts?
Kelly, in the second half, Pearl River outgained Hinds. Hinds only had 77 yards of offense in the second half. Pearl River had 227. For the game, Pearl River outgains Hinds 400 to 347. Pearl River had 221 yards rushing. And passing the football, Tavis Williams, who was 11 of 31 coming in, goes 20 of 28 for 171 and a score. Boy, I tell you, sometimes the stats lie, Kelly. It was one of those situations where it was the long kick returns in the first half of all things. You hear coaches go, oh, there's 3 phases of the game, and you think, oh, come on, what's the offense, what's the defense? Let me hear it. A blocked punt that led to a safety in the first half. A return off of that ensuing kick that gave them a 26-yard field that gave them a touchdown, and the long kick return with 47 seconds after Pearl River had scored a touchdown. The momentum's on their side before the half. A long kick return gets Hinds into Pearl River territory. They score. Those kick returns and that blocked punt, they're the difference in the ball game, because when you look at these stats and the Pearl River defense pitching another shutout in the second half, when you look at those stats, you'd think Pearl River won this football game, and they didn't.
Yeah, but turnovers. I mean, turnovers.
Well, they ended up with 2, but really only 1 was significant. I mean, that last interception, it's a turnover in the books for sure. But, really in this type of field conditions, 1 turnover, in the course of the ball game, not so bad. Now, again, it's going to show up as a -2, and anytime you see it in the pros is when they usually bring that stat out. But when you're -2, your odds of winning the football game, if I'm not mistaken, are about 18%. I mean, it's literally that big of a difference. If there's one stat you can always look at There's so many. Look at these. Oh, we ran the ball for 221 yards. You lost by 10. You know, we got a 20 of 28 throwing the football, was very efficient. You lost by 10. How many 300 or 400-yard passing games have been? When you're -2 or worse in the turnover column, you're going to lose that game almost every time. And in the end, it was a -2. But overall, when I look at these statistics, if I just gave them to you and you read them, I'm telling you, you're going to look up and go, Pearl River won, right? And they not only did they not win, it was a 10-point victory. Going back to that last touchdown, Kelly, we talked about it, not converting that 2-point conversion to get it to a one-score game. Hinds never changed their game plan because they still felt comfortable up 10, and they just kind of pulled the air out of the ball and ran out the clock. Again, they did not score a single point in the second half, only were able to come up with 77 yards of offense. But you know what? Their defense played well enough. Pearl River, once again, a good effort. But let me tell you, those moral victories are now falling on deaf ears.
Final score tonight from Raymond, Mississippi. The Hinds Eagles 28, the Pearl River Wildcats 18, and Pearl River returns home next Thursday for the annual cat fight against Jones. We hope to see you at Dobie Holden Stadium, but if not, here on prccmedia.com. Kickoff at 6 o'clock from Dobie Holden next Thursday, Jones at Pearl River. That'll do it tonight from Hinds. For our executive producer, Mark Franklin, for color analyst, Captain D. David Sutton, and the athletic department at Pearl River Community College. So thank you for joining us. You've been watching Wildcat Football on prccmedia.com.